just go.
Beautiful day here in Michigan, the hills, the lakes, lots of summer fun to be had. No more than right here at Michigan International Speedway. Welcome to the Monster Energy Series presented by Outback Steakhouse. Earlier you heard racing sons honoring their dads. Got a lot of racing dads and their kids here in the series. Kyle Larson on the pole. His dad, or his son Owen, very approving of his pole run here on Friday. And with that, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Kyle Larson on the pole. Martin Truex, third straight front row start for the two-time Michigan runner-up. Clint Boyer matches his best start here. Kyle Busch won here in August of 2011. Denny Hamlin, a two-time winner at Michigan. And Ryan Blaney, fourth here last August, coming off a big win at Pocono. Joey Logano, Jamie McMurray. Joey, a two-time Michigan winner. And the top 10 rounded out by Matt Kenseth and Chase Elliott, who was runner-up in both Michigan races last year.
Let me talk to my good friend, Clint Boyer. How about it? Hey, Clint Boyer, Steve W., are you awake in there, brother?
Yeah, you hot rod.
Hey, Bugger Ravage must give you a heck of a car for you to qualify third. That's about the best you've ever done here. What's going on, man?
I guess I deserve that, calling you old senile. Man, it is a fast hot rod. This Haas Automation Ford's been a lot of fun all weekend. The guys have done a good job of working on it here. Big task at hand. It ain't about one lap now.
All right, brother. Well, you know we're all pulling for you up here, and I hope you have a good, safe day, and happy Father's Day, pal.
Thanks, buddy. You guys, too. Have a good one.
We got some late breaking news on pit road. You see Kurt Busch in the 41 car just rolling to catch up the field. He and Kevin Harvick in the 4 car, they will go to the rear of the field. Unapproved body modifications after inspection on pit road. So NASCAR continues to drop the hammer on this as far as making body modifications. I mean, that means we're going to have some fast drivers coming from the rear. I think guys that can win this race.
Wow, Harvick surrenders 11th starting spot and Kurt Busch 15th.
That's huge.
That is something NASCAR's really cracking down on lately.
Now, I mentioned we've only had 2 first-time winners at this racetrack. We've had 3 this season already. Who might join them? Good question. That's what we're all counting on. Let's go to pit road for late-breaking stories, beginning with Matt Yoakum.
Mike, Eric Jones hopes to continue that trend of first-time winners. The 21-year-old racing this year as a rookie, more like a 31-year-old, just not making those typical rookie mistakes. And what impresses his crew chief, Chris Gale, the most is his improvement from Friday to Sunday. Now, we've only seen back-to-back first-time winners 3 times over the last 47 years. But Eric Jones hopes to break that trend and make it 4 for some pure Michigan fun here today in Victory Lane. Chris Neville?
Well, Denny Hamlin's a 2-time winner here at Michigan, and he's hoping to tip his team into that victory column for the first time this year. He said the team just didn't have the speed in the early part of the year, but by mid-May, they turned the corner. They think if they can be perfect here on pit lane and have great restarts, they think today could be their day. Jamie Little?
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is coming off a tough weekend at Pocono. 2 blown engines, both because of missed shifts. Well, his crew chief Greg Ives told me to ensure that never happens again, he changed the shifter lever, and it starts today. It's a ball shifter, and he told me he wants his driver to get used to it today, even though they only shift really on restarts and on pit road. And guys, by the way, that 88, great speed off the truck, minimal changes, great speed. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Jamie, I think for drivers and teams starting at the rear of the field, and we've already talked about Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, they're going to have to pull some strategy, and I think some of that strategy may come from pit road changing possibly just right side tires. I think we'll see that a lot today. Now let's take a look at our Outback Steakhouse race analysis. 200 laps, 400 miles. The first two stages, 60 laps. That final stage to the checkered flag, 80 laps. Pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. Pay close attention to this one. Fuel window, 44 to 48 laps. It rained here a little bit this morning. Competition caution lap 20. You can't fuel the car until that caution. And to the rear of the field, Ty Dillon, the 13 car, unapproved body modifications after qualifying. Daniel Suarez, unapproved tire change. Jimmy Johnson, A.J. Allmendinger in backup cars, and add now Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch for body modifications on pit road. The weather here, rain this morning, air temp 78 degrees, 107 degrees track temp, partly cloudy. The good news is, Mike, the rain is far to the east of us.
That is good to hear. We really got drenched here about 11 a.m. this morning, but the sun popped right back out and dried it quickly. As you look at the asphalt here from our Goodyear aerial coverage and from our cameras down near the ground, you'll see a black line all the way around the groove. They brought the tire dragon in here from Kentucky before these cars came on the track. We had an Xfinity race yesterday, but look right down near the yellow line, it's still gray, and way up top it's still gray. Are we going to have a 1.5, a 2 groove racetrack at the start? And is that groove going to move around a lot like we've been used to seeing?
Mike, I've actually seen this track have 0 grip and 0 grooves on lap 1. This place, when it sits, especially with the sun coming out, can get very, very slick until some heat gets in these tires and that rubber gets laid into the racetrack.
Yeah, the little bit of rain we had, Mike, obviously didn't do much to the track. We still got a very dark groove. It's pretty visible to everybody, so it didn't really do a whole lot to the track. So it's going to be interesting on the start.
Well, you can race 5 and 6 wide here. There's room to do that. But how hindered by the narrow groove are these drivers who have to start at the back going to be working their way to the front?
I think one guy we could ask, because he'll be the first one to try it, that guy starting on the outside pole, or on the pole today, actually starting on the outside on the come to get the green, Kyle Larson. He will be the first one to try it if there's something up there.
The turbulent air back there for those that went to the back is going to be crazy. I mean, they are going to have their hands full at the start of this race until that field gets spread out.
Coming to green on a happy Father's Day in Michigan.
It really is. Yeah, happy Father's Day to everybody out there watching today. This is a fast race. This is a fast racetrack. These are a bunch of fast drivers. And they're getting ready to come down here. We're going to drop the hammer on this baby. And here we go, folks. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go motoring in the Motor City, drivers.
Well, they all fan out, but drivers that went right to the bottom or right to the top paid the price on that first lap.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it. I saw the one car, McMurray. He got up high getting into 3. Listen, the first turn's not too bad. You're not up to full song, but when you go down the back on that first lap into the third turn, that's the most treacherous part of the day.
Yeah, I really want to watch what happens with Joey Logano. He's trying a different lane, trying to find that clean air behind Chase Elliott. He knows that wake of air I talked about, punching a big hole in the air on the straightaways, but boy, it's taking all the downforce off the car. So you've got to find a way inside, outside, somewhere outside of that wake. And you see now he comes down to 3 and 4, moves up the racetrack.
The first 18 cars are single file on what early on is a narrow groove, but then Darrell Wallace side by side with Danica, Trevor Bayne, with David Reagan and more.
And Mike, that wake that Jeff's talking about, those cars coming down this front straightaway, it's got a good bit of banking to it. They will waltz around. It'll dive around, move around, and you'll get into the guy beside of you accidentally.
And we're seeing Martin Truex Jr. makes that move by Kyle Busch for second place. Kyle Busch got to his quarter panel off of turn 2 on the original start and was able to go into second. But I think that Mark Truex Jr. was tiptoeing and taking it a little bit easy through that first corner. Now he's starting to make positions back up.
Yeah, he was pinned down on the inside of turn 1, Jeff, and there just wasn't any grip there on that opening lap.
Well, that's two of the best cars. I mean, Larson's out front here and kind of got a couple little lead, but the 78 and the 18, those were two of the best cars in practice. And Jeff's real high on the 24 today. He thinks he's got something for him.
Well, and also the 22 of Joey Logano right in front of Chase Elliott. These two battled for the win here a year ago, and already Logano's made a move by him.
Jimmy Johnson +6. His spotter Earl Barban was away this weekend for a family emergency. He is back atop the spotter stand today. Good to have that familiar voice back in his ear, and Jimmy is up 6 spots already.
This is where you really need that spotter to help guide you through a lot of this, and you need to be smart. That's the drivers that went to the back. A lot of them are veterans, and I think using that patience and experience is going to be key to getting them back to the front.
Well, Jimmy Johnson particularly, Jeff, I mean, he's got to be, that's a backup car he's in. So
just as I say, he's using his patience. He goes 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Well, he had a great run. He had a great run on the inside against 2 cars that were battling side by side and took advantage. Jamie.
Such a great effort yesterday by the 48 team. There were members of all 4 Hendrick teams helping them get this backup car ready. He was back on track in an hour, and I just talked to Jimmy before he got in. He said this car was so loose, and he said the last 4 weeks they have really struggled with free into the corner.
That is definitely not a good thing to deal with at this big fast racetrack at 215 miles per hour going into the corners.
Kevin Harvick up 9 spots. Here he looks to the inside of Corey LaJoie.
Yeah, I have to laugh about that, Jeff. You do not want to turn right when you get to the corner.
Well, and you say to yourself, okay, well, why not just tighten the car up? They do have enough tools to tighten the car up, but what happens once you tighten that entry up and the car's comfortable there, now it won't turn the middle. The front tires don't want to work to roll and carry that speed through the center of the corner.
Kyle Larson holding a 3/4 second lead on Martin Truex, Matt. And caution is out. Debris on the racetrack in the front straightaway. A lot of trash bags, sandwich bags, things blowing around, and it's a big black garbage bag that we saw floating about the level of our booth earlier. And it finally came to earth right on the front stretch.
We saw this with the wind blowing at Pocono last week, and I noticed it right before I got up here to the booth. The wind was just gusting and blowing all over the place. So this is going to be I think something consistent throughout the day.
Yeah, debris on the grill here. It happens quite often here at this racetrack. So open down on the 3 and 4 end of the track, and it just seems to stir the trash up.
Now we see drivers coasting, shutting the engine off, coasting along. Now we're going to have a competition yellow at lap 20. Larry, what's going on here?
Well, anytime you can save fuel, that's less time you have to spend putting fuel in the car on the pit stop. Remember, you cannot fuel the car until that competition at lap 20. I don't see any of the leaders coming. We may see some drivers at the back come to pit road, maybe make some adjustments, but you only have 7 sets of tires laying in the pits as far as to work with today.
And something else I'd add to that, Larry, these teams, aerodynamics mean everything, so they tape up the grill as much as they possibly can. So not just saving fuel by shutting the engine off, it helps keep the engine cool under these slow conditions under caution.
The other thing I think the teams are looking at, if I'm saving fuel now, that means less time in the pits to put fuel in the car, and if I'm going to take 2 tires, that's real important.
Pit road is open. We'll have a look, see if there are any takers. There are no lapped cars, so no free pass. And it looks like about 10 cars toward the back of the field will come in. Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, and Ryan Blaney, the top 5. 9 laps complete in Michigan, getting ready to go back to green. Here are today's Ford Performance Track Facts. Roush Fenway Racing leads all teams in Michigan with 13 victories. Bill Elliott swept Michigan races in 1985 and 86. That Thunderbird is in the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn.
Good.
Now here's who pitted under this caution, and Larry, it includes all the cars that started in the back under penalty.
Well, I talked about strategy. What they've done, they got their 4 tires. They made adjustments. When we do get the competition caution, which has been moved to lap 25, Mike, I would say fuel only for those drivers.
So that'll be 16 laps from now. Pace car is in. Kyle Larson from the outside of the front row once again. Leads Martin Truex into the restart zone, and we're back under green. See if Truex has any luck on the bottom this time. No.
The question is, can he get up right here? And he doesn't. Again, just like what happened. This time it's with Bowyer, just like that last start. Kyle Busch got to the outside of Truex. This time Bowyer gets there, but can he get him back down here in 3 and 4?
Boy, Bowyer drove that thing into turn 3. Got a nice little lead there over the 78.
This is one of those tracks, because of that draft down these long, fast straightaways. And once you get trapped down there on the bottom, you could lose 2, 3, 4, 5 positions.
Boy, restarts. It's such a jungle. I mean, they're all over this front straightaway. Look at them. They're about 5 wide going down to 1 on these restarts.
And I really thought that was Truex being extremely conservative. Maybe his spotter was being conservative, but he certainly was. He had the opportunity to slide up and get in front of Bowyer, and he chose not to.
I think it's just maybe a little early. It's a little, you know, maybe it's not a dicey move at this point. Just don't do it right now. Save that for later.
And he definitely has a good race car on the longer runs.
There's some 3 wide into turn 3 and beyond. And down this big wide front straightaway. Here we go.
I love it.
Once again, drivers that restarted in the back rushing to the front.
Well, you can hear Kevin Harvick get into the throttle. This is quite a battle I've been watching here with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. Joey Logano showing some great speed, making some good moves.
Matt Kenseth looked pretty good right there.
That's what
he just
slid
slid
up.
Yeah, he just slid right up in front of Dale Jr. That cost Dale Jr. some momentum.
And everybody had to lift, and now they all stack up.
Junior had to get out of the throttle there to let the 20 car up there, Matt Kenseth, and he just lost a lot of momentum.
Those boys in the back are coming. Kurt Busch has gained 9 spots. Jimmy Johnson 8 since the restart. Here's Busch up for 18th against Ryan Newman. He restarted 28th.
I think this is going to end up being a pretty smart move. That caution fell at a good time for those that started at the back that have fast race cars to come in, get those fresher tires, and only take fuel when that competition caution comes out. They're going to get that track position and have pretty decent tires.
Yeah, I think the big thing for them is they can take fuel only, or they can just take 2 right sides, and they'll be in good shape.
And this is one of those tracks where tires, the air pressure in the tire is more critical than the actual tire wearing out. There's not a lot of fall off in these tires as they run.
Now, Jimmy Johnson got 4 tires on his pit stop. Kevin Harvick has gained just 3 spots since his pit stop from 27th to 24th.
And Mike, I might be wrong, but you take 4 on that caution, so you have the luxury or the option to take 2 when you come for the competition yellow.
If any. Larry, with only 16 laps in this run, potentially, might you just do gas only?
Mike, I think they'll do gas only, and honestly, this pace is not slowing down. I look for a lot of the leaders maybe to just do right sides.
Oh, 3rd place.
Track position's going to be king today, isn't it, Larry?
And like I say, the pace is just not slowing down. Larson's fastest lap was 37.17. He just ran a 37.17.
Matt?
Showing a lot of speed, out to about a 2.5 lead over Glenn Bowyer. And Jack, you talked about feeling the wind when you went to the booth. That's exactly what Kyle Larson is telling his team about the 42. It's making his car loose on entry. Both ends of the racetrack and a little bit tight on exit. He's already working the track bar adjuster.
That's the only thing I see out of that 42 car is dust in the wind. Because he is way out in front of everybody else right now.
And the wind is swirling around. It hasn't decided which direction it's going to blow. It seems to be blowing more straight down the back straightaway. So a headwind here on the front straightaway as you ride along with Ryan Blaney. That's going to help downforce as you get into turn 1. But turn 3 is very flat, and the cars are already a little loose there. If you have a tailwind, it's only going to cause that condition to get worse.
They're being hindered by the wind on the front straightaway. They only went 215 into turn 1 that time. So
well, he was in the draft.
So my goodness, but 215. That's
210. 210 into turn 3.
Now, yesterday
we
had a tailwind down the backstretch. Not so much today. Daniel Suarez battling Ryan Newman ahead. Danica Patrick to the side.
Mike, I've talked to a lot of these drivers, and they all say even at these speeds, the cars are not difficult to drive. Everything is so scienced out on these cars. All the geometry, the way the car rides, the aerodynamics, everything is scienced out for a car to run 215 into turn 1.
Until you throw 39 other cars around you. That's when it changes the way these cars drive.
Then it becomes a science project.
Yes.
You can just watch Dale Jr.'s car. You see the nose up here. You see him behind the wheel. We don't see a lot of him jostling around by the driver. You see a little bit here at the start-finish line. But look how comfortable he is as he enters turn 1 here. Well, it looks comfortable to me. He might not agree with that.
Well, he was very comfortable in practice yesterday. I thought that looked pretty good. He might just start off a little bit freer than he wants to. Maybe that's why he lost a couple positions. Once some air pressure gets built up in these tires, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him start making his way back forward.
I think Junior's one of those guys. He likes to get into a rhythm. He likes to find a little place like he is right now. Nobody in front of him all that close, nobody that far behind him, and then just kind of get some laps under his belt.
You know how we say the leader cleans the track for everyone? Well, Kyle Larson just had a big piece of paper on his grill, but it came off. It blew off. Oftentimes you have to get close up behind another car for that to happen.
Oh, it's rare that it ever comes. Oh, that's a pretty big piece.
I don't know how at 215 anything stays stuck to the nose of one of these things. Watch this. Just going down the front.
That was going to be a significant problem if that piece did not come off the nose. I'm not sure when, where, and how it did come off.
Well, maybe when that splitter hit the ground going into the corner.
There
it goes.
There it is.
Yep.
Right at terminal velocity, it came off.
Scared it.
Disintegrated it.
Boy, Kurt Busch is on a mission. He's up 12 since the restart. Jimmy Johnson is up 11. Here are the Dillon brothers together.
I'm impressed with Suarez also. He went to the back at the start of this race, got 4 tires on that last stop. He's making his way up through there, just right there behind Johnson. And here's Harvick now passing Suarez. So all those cars with 4 tires right together.
Yeah, Harvick's come to life. It took him a while, but now he's passed 7 cars since the restart.
Not to mention Jimmy Johnson, who's right in front of Kevin Harvick. Johnson up to 19th.
3 laps to the competition caution that NASCAR institutes on days when there's rain between final practice and the race. Jamie?
Yeah, and Kevin Harvick, they've had a great weekend all the way up until the start of this race when they had to drop to the back. But Rodney Childers told me last weekend was one of the smoothest weekends they've had all year long. They unloaded fast, barely adjusted on him, and had their best finish of second. He said the same way this weekend. So they're getting that momentum behind them, and the cars have the speed, and they're getting more consistent.
Jamie McMurray in trouble. He went way up high in turn 2 and slowed.
Yeah, he's going to lose 2 positions here. I think he just lost, I don't know if he lost the nose or the back of the car, but he moved up out of that darker area that is rubbered in. And when you do that, there's 0 grip, and he lost a lot of momentum.
I think that was pretty breathtaking. I don't know if the pass by Junior, he's got a battle here for 9th place between the 2 and the 20. But when Junior went by McMurray in the 1 car, I don't know if that upset McMurray's car and sent him up the hill or not. Something did.
Well, whatever his problem, he wants to ride it out for 1 more lap when we know we're going to have a caution flag. Matt.
We touched on Brad Keselowski wanting to score a winning Cup here at his home racetrack. Right now, he's trying to focus more, Mike, on turns 3 and 4. That's where he feels like he's giving up most of his time, just loose in, tight across the center.
Kozlowski in 10th place, 8.5 seconds off the lead. As they cycle through on lap 25, McMurray now has slowed pretty dramatically.
Yeah, that looks like it's more. Maybe he has a tire going down, because he definitely has something more significant than just a loose condition.
Put it out. Put it out. This is a competition yellow.
And now that the field has cycled through, let's find out about Jamie McMurray. Chris.
Well, since the drop of the green, Mike, Jamie McMurray complaining that car just way too loose, especially on entry. But these last 10 laps, he said that car is just wrecking loose. He's been trying to adjust the track bar in that car, but it just isn't getting any better.
So he hung on for 16th at the time of the yellow flag. Lost 5 positions there in those final couple of laps. And we still have everybody on the lead lap, so no free pass on this caution flag.
That was well put, Mike. He was hanging on, I assure you.
Kevin Harvick completes this run in 19th. Don't forget you can claim a free bloomin' onion on Monday after Kevin Harvick finishes in the top 10. Something to look forward to at your Outback Steakhouse. So let's hear from Jamie McMurray.
We got a tire going down or something. 10-4. We'll put 4 tires on it here. Just roll around as much as we can here. Hopefully it doesn't come apart on us.
You know, that's always a tough call when you have an issue, but you know a caution's coming. Do you come in and deal with it? Do you stay out and hope?
Well, the other part is he was complaining about the car being really, really loose. And now, is it in my mind, or is the car just that bad off? Or did we miss it that far?
And then if it's not a loose or a tire going down and we make a big adjustment, do we now shift the other direction and make it too tight?
Well, let's find out. Pit road is open and they're all coming. Chris.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin complained a little bit about some smoke in that car early in the run. The team worried that maybe he's got a little bit of a tire rub, but overall happy with the balance of the car late in the run, saying that the car started to get a little bit loose. Jamie.
Martin Truex Jr. balance on the car is pretty good. He just wants to restart on the outside. His spotter Clayton Hughes going to help him with that here. Right sides only, Matt.
Clint Boyer said he needs more security. Look for some possible more right side tire gamesmanship here on pit road. That's what Boyer does. Meanwhile, the 42, he feels like he's just having the issue, the wind pushing that car on exit of turn 2, his only real issue.
Kyle Larson, who just has to hit first gear and jump out of his pit stall to win the race off pit road, does so handily from Kyle Busch and Martin Truex. 5 cars stayed out and did not pit. They all came in the next time around, so they cycled to the back of the field as Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch are ready to lead them down for the restart. Martin Truex eased it coming off pit road so he could restart on the outside of the second row. Let's see how that works out for him.
Kind of feeling we're going to see that more as the day goes on, Mike. That looks like the hot tip.
Kyle Busch being aggressive with Kyle Larson on this restart.
And here's why. See, you're pretty even on the restart down to the first turn, but that momentum from that outside, you just go by the guy on the inside.
Oh,
nobody told Denny Hamlin. Here he comes on the inside.
Nice move right here, guys.
And Blaney's going to give a big shove to Truex.
Here comes Boyer, 3 wide.
And then Hamlin did a nice job sliding up in front of Blaney, but Blaney turned underneath him, made a great move. If he can clear him.
I tell you, that 21 has got some steam on the hood. He goes down that straightaway.
Nice job there by Ryan Blaney.
Really was.
Oh, but look at Hamlin. There's something you don't see out of Denny Hamlin very often. He usually backs up the entry in the corner. He drove in deep to try to get to the outside.
Well, he won here yesterday. I think he's kind of got a good feeling about today too.
Yeah, yesterday Denny stole that money right out of that kid's hand. William Byron coming for the win, and Denny Hamlin beat him.
Beat him to the line.
Don't worry, he'll get his share.
Oh, yeah, great young talent in William Byron.
Teammates battling. Busch and Hamlin into turn 1 for 4th. Chris?
Well, you see Jamie McMurray trying to get some track position back there, saying that the car is feeling a little bit better, but the team took a look at the tires that came off that car, said there wasn't an issue there. There wasn't a puncture with that car. So they said, Jamie, just be careful on these restarts. Let's feel this car out and make sure nothing is broken.
I really think what happened when Dale Jr. went by McMurray, it pushed him up the hill. He got in a little bit of that trash and dirt up high, and I think it confused him, and he thought he had a flat tire.
Trevor Bayne battling Dale Earnhardt Jr. And here's a look at the pit stop for McMurray. The tire changer slips in a bit of spilled gas there coming around to get the left rear. That delayed them just a little bit. Now, prior to the restart, we talked about gamesmanship on pit road, trying to work out what lane to be in for the restart. Let's listen to team owner Tony Stewart talking to Clint Boyer's spotter, Brett Griffin.
Hey, Brett, at the end of this thing, we'll keep watching these restarts, but I think we're going to want to be on the outside line. So kind of like what we do at Martinsville. If it gets a scenario where we all come down toward the end, we want to make sure we're the even number getting out. Yeah, 10-4.
Yeah, some of these tracks where it's so important of lane choice on restarts, you start playing that game leaving pit road to try to get yourself in an even number exiting the pit road so you can be guaranteed on that outside.
You know, with a lot of short tracks, they put out a choose cone before they go one to go, and they let every driver choose his lane. Wonder if that'd work here.
It would. It could work. But you know what also else will work? We got a battle here from front, but that 78 is a lot better than that 42. I don't know what they did to 42, and I don't know what they did to 78, but he's taking the lead down the back.
Not liking those two tires. And Martin Truex Jr. certainly is.
What did he say was engaged? That was Clayton Hughes.
That looked like Jackson Storm taking it to Lightning McQueen right there.
Howdy. It did.
34 laps complete, 35 now in Michigan. Martin Truex Jr. becomes our second leader of the day.
Whole grain always comes in first with General Mills Big G cereals. Fuel your day with a Big G favorite. Find them all online and pick up in store using ClickList.
39 laps complete. Denny Hamlin jumped to fourth with a pass of Ryan Blaney. So he trails Martin Truex, Kyle Larson, and Kyle Busch.
Blaney's about to lose another position to Clint Boyer.
But you know what I like about Blaney? These guys are a little quicker than him. He is. He's not holding them up. He's moving over, letting them go. He let the 11 go, and now he let the 14th go. How about it, Matt?
Well, when you look at the weekend, a much more overcast day on Saturday meant more grip. Today the sun is out, and that's why you're seeing a lot of teams experiencing loose, and that's the problem that Ryan Blaney has with the 21, especially on initial throttle. He's on the free side.
You just can't go anywhere here with a loose car. At these speeds, you cannot be turning back to the right for any reason. So a loose car is a no-no.
Matt Kenseth trying to make the pass on Blaney. That will change hands of sixth place. And now second place, Kyle Busch with Kyle Larson, and Eric Jones is on pit road under green.
Yeah, he questioned the lug nuts, and we'll see what they figure out.
Yeah, he was asking his team shortly after that restart, did you get all the lugs tight? Matt?
And that's exactly what he was questioning with that team once they got the lugs tight. And Chris Gale told me that we've made a lot of great moves this year. We have had some hiccups, whether it be strategy or especially on pit road, that we have cost ourselves some great runs. Now it's going to be interesting to see if we get some trends here of long green flag runs, and this is going to be a big or lesser hit.
Well, they'll be fine. They are the only car one lap down. Jones was in 8th place when he peeled off to pit road. Kyle Busch stalking pole sitter Kyle Larson.
Typically when you change right side tires and leave those left sides on, it typically tightens you up, but that does not seem to be the case today. Kyle Larson, you could see that little wiggle as he got into turn 3. He had a little bit of a free condition. It's only gotten looser since they've made that pit stop.
Yeah, and a little bit I worry about, Jeff, is if I got a vibration, is it my right sides or is it my left side? So I think the almost safest thing to do is change 4 tires in that situation.
And oh, by the way, Jimmy Johnson's made it into the top 10 Took him 42 laps to do so.
I mean, how many times have we seen Jimmy Johnson start at the back? I think what we talked about in the pre-race, 3 of his last 4 wins, he has gone to the back for some reason and come back up and won the race.
And we'll also keep an eye on Kurt Busch because Kurt restarted 20th. He is up to 13th. And here are the rest of the cars that, due to penalty or backup car, had to start this race in the rear. You're riding with Kevin Harvick, who just passed Brad Keselowski for 13th.
Yeah, this is a track that Brad likes. We talked to him also in pre-race. Showed a lot of speed in practice. He's top 5 here, I think, both races last year, but they're going to have to make some adjustments if they're going to improve the performance on his car today.
A couple drivers on the win one soon list. Joey Logano has a win, but due to penalty, it is encumbered, meaning it does not put him into the playoffs. And Chase Elliott, who finished second here twice last year.
I was over in Cincinnati at dinner with the Kentucky Speedway, put on Speedway Children's Charity. 2 attorneys were there, and I said something about the encumbered win, and they said that would be a legal term. That would be a lawyer term. That's one of those $50 words.
Darrell, lawyers, guns, and money. That's what it takes. Let's go double wide.
NASCAR fans, get your officially licensed NASCAR gear today. Log on to the NASCAR shop now to order your t-shirts, caps, die-casts, and more from all your favorite drivers. The NASCAR shop is the official online store of NASCAR and your destination for all NASCAR licensed merchandise. Secure your gear today. Order online now at NASCAR.com/shop.
Oh, snap.
Every truck guy has their own way of conveying powerful.
Yeah, boy. Kind of looks like a monster coming to eat you. Holy smokes. That is awesome. Strong.
You got the basic and you got the beefy.
I just think it looks mean.
Incredible. No way. Getting goosebumps.
Get 17% below MSRP on all Silverado 1500 LT pickups in stock. That's over $8,100 on this Chevy Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
At KFC, we choose to make spicy, crispy chicken sandwiches. Not because it is easy, but because it is hard. We choose not only to launch KFC's new Zinger sandwich in a $5 Phillip, but to take it to space. Will it be easy? No. Will it be hard? Yes. We've already covered that. But when we succeed, we will lick our fingers good! Space sandwich! Yeah! Try the Zinger sandwich before it goes to space.
At Watkins Glen International, expect the unexpected. Here comes Keselowski! He gets in a Kyle! Perfect slows in turn 7! Logano goes blasting by! Create memories and experience the excitement.
It is a 3-man free-for-all for the lead and the win in Watkins Glen.
Tempers flaring on the racetrack.
NASCAR returns to Watkins Glen International August 3rd through the 6th. Get your tickets at theglen.com or call 866-461-RACE.
Saturday on FS1, led by the Thunder in the heart of their lineup. The Brewers look to continue their unexpected run against Matt Kemp and the Braves. Then on Fox,
this is belted out of here.
Albert Pujols takes aim at the monster.
Gone!
As the Angels take on Mookie Betts and the Red Sox. Major League Baseball, Saturday on FS1 and Fox.
49 laps complete, 11 to go in stage 1. Martin Truex Jr. leading Kyle Larson by 2.7 seconds. It's time for the AARP Keys to the Drive.
Well, thank you, Mike. Michigan is one of the toughest tracks to gain position. So drivers and teams, they're going to need to be on top of their game in these 3 areas. The restart area, from the restart zone on a curved 12-degree straightaway all the way through turns 1 and 2, it's key to get that launch and maintain momentum once the green flag waves. Once you've settled into a run and are in position to make another pass, it will still be very difficult to finish that move. A driver will need to get outside of the weight generated by that car ahead to get critical air on the car. And finally, if you're not making much headway on the track, a change in pit strategy can help you leapfrog the competition or even trap them a lap down if the caution waves in your favor. So you can go battle for victory.
We'll see how that sorts out here in the closing laps of stage 1. Clint Boyer carrying the flag for Stuart Haas in the early going here. His Ford is in 6th place. He's the highest placed Ford ahead of Ryan Blaney. Martin Truex leads the race in a Toyota, then Kyle Larson in a Chevrolet. Look at the laps led by Martin Truex this season. Not only almost 900 laps led, but of all the laps we've run, he has spent 36% of them in either first or second place. And that leads the league.
What I don't want to remind Martin Truex Jr. of is how few of races have been won by the driver that's led the most laps.
No, don't.
I think only 2 or 3.
2 or 3, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Kyle Larson has the second most laps in the top 2, followed by Kyle Busch. Now here's Eric Jones on fresh tires, trying to get back to the free pass position. But now that Truex has started to lap slower cars, that may be difficult to do before this stage ends. Matt Kenseth had a little trouble on the restart. Car went up the racetrack, lost a few spots, but he has battled back after restarting 8th. He is now up to 5th.
All right, thanks. Give me something motivational here when we get to 11. See what you can come up with. I can get into the motivational stuff. Let's go get him. You better he is. Let's just get started. You actually kind of got me popped up when you said you're going to get the next 2. I thought you were already fired up enough to go get him.
See, that every driver likes something different. Matt wants somebody to cheer him on, say, come on, you can do it. Go get that 11 car. A lot of drivers don't want to hear that, right, Jeff? I mean, some guys don't want to be bothered. Other guys want to be cheered on.
Oh, yeah, I didn't need anything to be said on the radio because I slowed down every time they talked on the radio.
Well, the Gibbs car is right now running 3-4-5 as Kyle Busch still keeping close tabs on second place Kyle Larson. Matt.
Kyle Larson 4 seconds back of the leader. Remember when he was out front, his car was on the free side. They made that 2-tire stop. Now the car has swung to the tight side. That's why he's giving up time. Meanwhile, the Kyle behind him is showing some frustration over the team radio because he was really great on the restart, but when he got close to the 42, the car swung to the free side and he couldn't do anything with it.
That's just frustration. We talk about that wake that's generated, that airflow off those cars, and when you get into that wake in the corners, you just don't have the downforce. And this groove is very narrow. Maybe it'll widen out as the race goes on, and that'll help a situation or a driver like Kyle Busch make that pass.
Darrell Wallace Jr., 21st for Richard Petty. You know, he's not the first racer in his family. His mom ran track at the University of Tennessee.
As competition.
Well, I know he loves Tennessee. He's a big Tennessee football fan. He and I did a couple of promotions together around the Bristol race, and he's a big Tennessee fan. Now I know why. Now I know the rest of the story.
Jimmy Johnson with Kurt Busch right on his tail. 10th and 11th place here, Jamie.
Well, Mike, 48 fans are used to hearing us talk about his car chief, Ron Malik. Ron has been with Jimmy Johnson since before his NASCAR career began. He's never missed a race until today. Ron is racing his Trans Am at Road America this weekend, and you see there, that is Jesse Saunders. Normally, he's the underneath mechanic. Today, he is rookie car chief. I asked Jimmy about him, and he said it shows the depth of this team, the preparation by Ron Malik, and the job that Jesse's doing to fulfill them, getting from the back to the top 10 now, Mike.
And Ashley tweeted a picture of Ron yesterday at the June Sprints at Road America on the podium, second place.
Wow, that's very
cool.
I was going to say that shows how important that race was to Ron to miss this race here in Michigan.
But you know what I really like, Mike? We see this. These teams have so much depth, and they promote from within. They don't go outside and bring somebody in to do the job. They have people on the team that they trust. They know they can put in a position, and they'll perform, and you'll never know the difference.
So look who's poised to win stage 1. Martin Truex Jr. 2.5 up on Kyle Larson. Jimmy Johnson right now set to get the last stage point. Not if Kurt Busch has anything to say about it.
Boy, Kurt is really stalking, wanting that position.
There's a lot of little mini battles going on all over the racetrack. Here's one of them right here between the 48 and the 41. But you look around the racetrack, and there's a lot of little battles everywhere on the track.
One to go for race leader Martin Truex, looking for his 9th stage victory of the season. And if he gets it, well, that's more than any other team has this season.
It's amazing.
They put a great effort into this.
Amazing stat.
Yeah, he is continuing to build quite an advantage when those playoffs come around.
MTJ, Martin Truex Jr. wins stage 1 from the Kyles, Larson and Busch, Hamlin and Kenseth, Boyer, Blaney, Elliott, Logano, and Jimmy Johnson gets the final stage point. Next best stage winner, Kyle Busch with 4. Martin Truex just notched number 9.
Hey, I'd like to wish happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, especially my dad, who got me started in racing, and without his support, I wouldn't be where I am today.
To all the dads out there, thank you for everything that you do, but especially to my dad, I love you, I appreciate you, I love you, thank you.
Hey, I want to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, especially mine. Appreciate everything you've done for me to get to this point.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. Thanks for coming to the racetrack.
Let's add to that, happy Father's Day to all of our kids who make it a great Father's Day for us. Pit road will be open this time. Here are your Toyota top performers. Martin Truex, leader at the end of stage 1. Busch, Hamlin, Kenseth, 3, 4, 5. Ty Dillon had difficulty under this caution from shutting the engine on and off to coast. He has broken the shutoff switch.
Yeah, there was
some help with that.
There's some issue. We saw him stopped on the racetrack. He did get going, so I'm assuming they've got it corrected.
And these teams have lightened up everything on these race cars, even those power switches.
Chris Neville.
Man, Denny Hamlin pretty happy with his race car today. Says it loosens up over the course of the run, but he thinks the high winds here today might be affecting that. 2 tires on the last stop. Going to be 4 tires on this stop. Jamie.
Martin Truex Jr., 9th stage win of the year for them. It was 2 tires last time. They called for 4 this time. The balance is good. No changes, Matt.
A great opportunity as Kyle Busch follows Kyle Larson into their pit boxes. Look for chassis adjustments for both. Larson way too tight from center to exit down in turns 1 and 2. Busch, he's more on the free side. That's his issue. Solid stop by both. Wow, great stop by the 42.
And a great launch.
And a great pit stall.
All things together. Yep. Here's the race off.
18 feet. That's the distance for the 42 of Kyle Larson. Is all he has to do to jump off out from that number 1 pit stall. Let's dial up our stage winner. Hey, Martin, Jeff up here in the FS1 booth. You got me?
Got you, Jeff.
Man, you just keep racking up these playoff points. Congratulations on that. Boy, the car just looked amazing when you guys put 2 tires on there. I know you lost some track position here, and these restarts are pretty tricky, but what do you got for them the rest of the way?
Auto Orders blue Toyota has been pretty sporty so far, so I'll just keep after it. There's a long race, lots to happen, but kangaroo, we just out clean here, obviously. Traffic is difficult as usual, but we'll deal with that the best we can, and hopefully keep this thing up front all day.
All right, well, don't stink up the show, man, but we are having fun watching you. Good luck.
Thanks, buddy. Sweeper against the wall down here, Paxton.
Both of his wins, he's carried that paint job, and that pit crew did a great job. His stall is just before the start-finish line. Take a look at this packed infield from our Goodyear aerial coverage. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. Packed infield and a very strong crowd. The upper 2/3 of the grandstand quite full, as are those luxury RV spaces outside turns 3 and 4. The bottom 10 rows not so much, but that's a very strong crowd here.
I don't know what's a crowd in the grandstand. I know that infield crowd was rowdy last night.
They were. There's a concert going on out there. They have a good time in the
fireworks, concert. They were having a big old time.
3 cars will take the wave around. Teammates David Reagan and Landon Castle and Eric Jones will also take the wave around. So they'll get back on the lead lap. The free pass car was Matt DiBenedetto. So we will restart with, it looks like, almost the entire field back on the lead lap here. 66 complete. Larson, Truex on the front row, Kyle Busch, Kenseth, then Logano, Boyer, Elliott, Harvick, Hamlin, and Kurt Busch will be your top 10 for the restart.
Mike, we had some rough pit stops on pit road on that time. Everybody pretty much went with 4 tires, but Ryan Blaney in that 21 car, you can see right there, 18.1, all types of trouble on the left rear. Kyle Larson, you can see 11.5, but Denny Hamlin, a lot of trouble on the right rear, a little bit of trouble on the left side, but I think it all started on the right side. That stop right there was 15.81. He's going to restart back in 9th. And then Jimmy Johnson in the 48 team, all types of troubles on the right rear. 15.91. Jimmy will restart back in the 15th position. So guys that worked hard to gain position lost it right there, Mike.
Yeah, Blaney falling from 7th to 20th. And Hamlin from 4th to 9th.
And these are big pit boxes, easy in, easy out.
Here they come to the Geico restart zone. We'll get stage 2 underway. Pace car to pit road. Larson Chevrolet against Truex in the Toyota. Green flag. Wow, Kyle Busch went up into the groove and about took the nose off Clint Boyer.
Well, that's what I talked about with Mark Truex Jr. at the beginning of this race. He had that opportunity to do that, chose not to, but that was a pretty risky move by Kyle Busch, but it did work out for him.
You know, one thing I'm seeing, that outside line up right next to that grade is getting better and better all the time. See more and more cars moving up the hill a little bit. Might make for some good racing before this is over with.
3 wide here. Danica inside. Jimmy Johnson and Darrell Wallace.
You know, I think what happened to that 42 car, Mike, is they put 2 tires on it, and that car was not happy. Fell back a little bit, but now that they've got 4 on it, got him adjusted up, he's long gone again.
68 complete in the Firekeepers Casino 400 in Michigan. Larson has jumped out quickly to a 1-second lead over Kenseth. This fight is for 11th.
Kind of limits your strategy, I guess, to some degree, Jeff. If your car doesn't like 2 tires and other guys at some point decide to put 2 on and get track position, that could be a problem for you as the day goes on.
A lot of variables here. You saw Denny Hamlin did a really nice job of holding his own on the bottom, as you see Casey Kane side drafting Daniel Suarez to complete his pass into turn 3 and makes it. Now you got to slide up in front of that car, take the air away from them.
Matt?
Ryan Blaney was telling us the car was just wicked free, so Jeremy Bullins went with some significant adjustments on the race car. Tried to get a Packer out of the left front, took extra time. They were also trying to push in a spring rubber in the left rear. Not sure if they got it in all the way. Jeremy finally said, let's go, let's go. But they'd lost enough time here on pit road, hoping, though, those adjustments stick to improve the balance.
A couple of Fords battling, Keselowski and Busch. Chase Elliott looking on. This is for 8th place. Now, Matt mentioned a Packer. Larry?
Let's shoot our Ford Performance cutaway car, and I'm going to show you about a front Packer. They're basically travel limiters, and they're on the front shock absorbers, and that lets the car travel. And this is a Packer right here. So what Matt was talking about is that shim you can put in or take out. If you want the car to travel a little more, you yank that little thin shim out. If you want to reduce the travel, you slide that thin shim in, and that's what they can do on a pit stop on the right front or the left front.
Yeah, and that can help the heck out of the handling, Mike, but also you have to be careful not to get that splitter bouncing off the racetrack on low air pressure too. So they must have had a pretty good idea of what they wanted to do, because I haven't heard him complain about the car splitter hitting the ground.
Now, for the first time today, Jimmy Johnson has not advanced on a restart. This time he restarted 15th. He's dueling here for 18th.
And you mentioned the key to that, 15th. That's an odd number. That's the inside lane. Not many drivers are advancing forward from that inside lane. I bet Jimmy Johnson starting that outside lane those other restarts.
Now, Eric Jones made a green flag pit stop and got one lap down. He took the wave around on this most recent caution. Here's crew chief Chris Gale.
Only choice here. If we wave, we get back on the lead lap, and then we should go about 31 more. I think the other guys, they'll split the segment. They won't go quite. They'll go maybe 5 laps, 6 laps longer than us, and then we'll be cycled back up if we catch a caution, and obviously we'll be in better shape.
Sounds just like what Larry Mack predicted.
Good, really good strategy.
He sounded very confident in it.
Yeah, guys, what they can do with the 77 car, they can go somewhere between lap 90 and lap 95, where everyone that pitted there on lap 67, they're going to be able to go somewhere around lap 110, which, remember, the end of this stage is lap 120, but everybody has to stop once.
These two cars right here, the 22 and the 14, two cars that we've kind of maybe struggled a little bit this year, but both of them are fast today. That 22 is good. They're running 6 and 7.
Kyle Larson out front by 2 seconds after 14 laps of stage 2. Clint Boyer just motored past Joey Logano. That's for 6th place after 78 laps in Michigan. Kyle Larson out front of Matt Kenseth by a little less than 2 seconds. Now, we talked about restarts. We're going to take a look and listen to how Dale Earnhardt Jr. spotter T.J. Majors helped him worry less with our Liberty Mutual Insurance spotter coverage.
Pace cars in. Leader is 10 for the mark. 5 away. Ready. Rolling 5, rolling 5, rolling 5, rolling 5. No pressure outside. Should be still over 1 back off of you. The 5 is right on the 11. Keep tight on him. 1 outside. Clear high by 1. Still clear up by half. Almost there. He's there. Outside. Lined up out there.
See, Mike, what I noticed, and this is something you have to pay attention to. We all watch the front row. We don't want the leader to get jumped. But second, third, all back through the field, they lay back a little bit. And you just saw that with Junior. He laid back, got a heck of a run on the cars in front of him. So that's a little bit of gamesmanship that goes on back in the pack.
Well, and you're not just trying to anticipate to maybe give yourself a shot to make it 3 wide or make a pass. You want to make sure that nobody gets that run behind you. So that's why you lay back, because you know the car behind you is laying back.
Landon Castle made a pit stop under green. 10th place battle here. Here comes Hamlin.
I just like what I saw at Denny Hamlin, which was he came up to the back of the 41 of Kurt Busch, turned underneath him, got side by side, and made that pass happen. That's a sign of a really good race car.
What was TJ saying repeated? Was it roll fine, roll fine?
I think what happens is he's just reassuring him that they're not stacking up in the lane ahead of him.
Joey Logano here in 7th place, 7.7 seconds off the lead. Matt, are those lucky numbers?
They're hoping so, Mike. They felt like they really unloaded more like vintage Logano in the ball game from the time they unloaded on Friday. He qualified 7th. The car built loose over that last run. They gained 4 stops on pit road, but they couldn't help him with something he probably wanted to work more on. The hose to his helmet fell off during that previous run. He wasn't able, at least at this juncture, to try to reattach it. Remember, Logano does not run AC, but maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the year. So now he doesn't even have the aid of the helmet blower to help out for driver cooling.
It's not that it's that hot today, but it is humid. That shower that came across this morning about 11 a.m. brought with it very high humidity. Now we have some blue sky. That's going to lessen a little bit, but not a lot.
I'll take 9 as a driver. When I was driving, I'd take 95-degree temperatures in Phoenix, Arizona in the desert with low humidity rather than an 80-degree day like today with high humidity.
The car becomes like a sauna. When it's humid outside, it becomes like a big sauna inside of the race car.
There's the gap first to second. You saw Kyle Larson and Matt Kenseth 1.8. Daniel Suarez, Jimmy Johnson back at 18th. Just ahead of them, Trevor Bayne, who has been on baby watch. He's had a driver on relief duty just in case, and wife Ashton expecting, he said they're going to induce Monday, and he'll be a dad for the second time.
He wants his Father's Day gift tomorrow.
Tomorrow, not today. Yes. Right. Very good. Kevin Harvick across the start-finish line, 198 miles an hour, 209 into the corner.
Yeah, he just gets her rolling, rolls her off in there at 208.
And about 175 minimum speed through the middle of the corner.
Don't slow down
this
much
place,
here.
boy, you get it done around this place.
Kevin Harvick from 31st. Now into the top 5, 3.8 seconds back of race leader Kyle Larson. Larson Chevrolet leading Matt Kenseth's Toyota by 9/10 of a second. The first Ford is Kevin Harvick in 5th. 30 cars on the lead lap after 90 laps. All 37 cars running. Jimmy Johnson had to start this race in the back. He's had an up and down day. He's 19th right now, but he had to start in the back after going to a backup car. He spun going into turn 3 in practice, did a great job keeping it off the wall, but then got to the grass. And that just tore the front end all the pieces. They fixed it, but when they let the car down off the jack stands, they found that it just wasn't right and rolled out the backup. Now they've had a difficult pit stop. Lost a lot of spots on pit road, and now Johnson is fighting the race car and having quite a discussion with crew chief Chad Knaus.
Are you doing that because you're tight? No, because I'm sliding loose in and hanging out there. Simple. A little shallower might help. Okay. And I'm just trying to help, pal. Dude, I just wish you would believe me like I try those things. I know you're trying to help, but I can't hold the wheel down there from loose in.
Let me tell you, that guy right there in that 48 car, when he says it's loose, I guarantee you everybody else will be spun out by now.
Eric Jones, we talked about, took the wave around, had to come to pit road now. Has run out his tank of fuel, and he'll get Sunoco race gas and some fresh tires. Let's see how many. Looks like 2 tire stop for Eric Jones. And this will take him off the lead lap once again. Denny Hamlin battling for 8th place. Joey Logano. 4 tires for Eric Jones, excuse me. They did take 4. And let's catch up on Jimmy Johnson's team with Jamie.
And the word he's been using to describe the car today is sketchy, loose, and they really haven't tightened him up at all. So once he worked his way to the top 10 and they had that bad stop, he fell to mid-pack, and the biggest problem is the traffic. He is wrecking loose in traffic, and you heard the frustration there. He's been telling Chad all race, I'm moving around and trying to find a better line.
And this is the best combination that this sport has seen in a long, long time. You're talking about Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champions. I mean, they have found a way to handle situations and communicate like this and be very successful with it. Now, one thing I will tell you, knowing Chad and knowing Jimmy, Jimmy likes a loose race car. So when he says tighten me up, Chad does not like to tighten him up because he is so afraid Jimmy's going to get tight. And anytime Jimmy Johnson gets tight inside that race car, he doesn't win races.
You know what I like, though? I like that at least Jimmy kind of came back on him today. And we don't hear that a lot. We hear that occasionally. I kind of like he's got that little fire in there. Hey, man, I'm doing all I can. I know you're trying to help, but
here's an odd stat. In the last, it's 4 or more races where Jimmy has crashed out. He's only had 1 top 10 finish coming off of a race like Pocono where he had a bad crash.
But, you know, they got that backup car out. Remember, Mike, in his first lap in that car was his 6th quickest lap of practice. So
the car's fast.
The car's good.
Yeah. And he does win from the rear pretty often. Let's get back up front. Kyle Larson leading by a full second on Matt Kenseth now. Matt?
Mike, Chad Johnson told me coming in, his concern today was we really would not see the groove widen out like we have here in the past. That's where Larson loves to run. He mentioned to Larson under the previous run that the 18 of Busch was making up a lot of headway right there, hugging that white line. Larson told him that he just couldn't run down there very much because the car just gets too free.
Well, we're all concerned about whether the groove would widen out and drivers be able to use more of that asphalt. 97 laps complete. Matt Kenseth closing in.
Time now for a KFC Zinger race break with Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, lap 101 of 200. You're watching NASCAR from Michigan on FS1, and there's your leader, your pole sitter, Kyle Larson. He's led the most laps only twice this season in the first 14 races, Michael, as the pole sitter won the race, and he's one of them who's done it.
Yeah, but look right there in his rearview mirror, Chris. Matt Kenseth has gained on Larson lap after lap here recently. He's cut that lead down to less than a half a second. Matt Kenseth is coming.
You see a string of Toyotas behind Kenseth. It's Truex, and then there's Kyle Busch searching for his first win this year.
And remember how aggressive Kyle Busch is. We talk about him on the restarts, but also getting on and off pit road. If this thing stays green for a few more laps, we're going to have green flag pit stops. We know Kyle Busch has a fast pit crew, and he's extremely good at entering and exiting the pits. He could gain some ground.
And the only three-time winners so far this season, Jimmy Johnson, the new contract extension, right? The seven-time champ. Listening to the chatter and communication with his crew chief, he's come from the back, he's moved up, he's fallen back. What's going on?
I've been there and done that, Chris. I've heard the battles between crew chief and driver, but he's got 7 championships in his pocket. He's not so much worried. I told you Kenseth was coming. He's there.
And Matt Kenseth, one of those Joe Gibbs Toyotas, battling for the lead with Larson. And Joe Gibbs Toyotas had 7 wins at this point last year. They have had none so far this season.
And we've watched Kenseth struggle on restarts. He got to that outside lane, made a good move on this restart. And look, he's able to dive right down to that white line. You get that far away from the guy you're chasing, you've got some clean air on your nose. You can take advantage of that. It looks like you can drive that 20 car anywhere in the turns.
Last week's winner, Ryan Blaney, has pitted now. Ryan Blaney, let's check in with Matt Yoakum.
He went deep in the box. The crew members had to catch up to the race car. You could see a chassis adjustment going on the 21. No improvement after all those significant adjustments they made the last time. The car is still too free.
All right, thank you. And here comes Kurt Busch, your Daytona 500 winner.
Yeah, and I like he and Kevin Harvick, his teammate, and Clint Boyer. Those Fords are really running good. I've seen this guy, Busch, move through the field to the front, and he's in his pit now, Jamie.
Jamie?
And Kurt Busch had to start in the back of the field. Done a nice job working his way up. The car balance has gotten a lot better since the start. He was loose in and tight through the middle, but pretty happy with it overall.
All right, fuel only. Dale Earnhardt Jr. searching for his first win, and this is Swan Song season. He has won twice here at Michigan.
And he's got a good race car, Chris. I've watched him the last few laps. He's moved up to the 12th position. He makes the right strategy calls, gets that fresh air. He could be a contender.
And leaders coming into pit, but when you have that #1 pit stall, it's neutralized when the pit is under green.
Yeah, you pit under caution. It's a big advantage, but that won't be the case under green. And remember, these guys are racing so hard. We got a stage break coming up. We got playoff points out there that we can grab. We've got to battle hard, and that's why you see these guys dicing it up so much.
That's your KFC Zinger race break. Let's head back upstairs to Darrell, Jeff, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. 7 of the drivers running in the top 10 do not have a playoff qualified victory this year. Danica Patrick in. Green flag stops with 14 laps to go in stage 2, Larry.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a mixed bag. You saw Ryan Blaney go with 4 tires, Kurt Busch fuel only. I think it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking on trying to win this stage or stage points, I think you do the minimum, fuel only or 2 tires. If you're thinking big picture and you're not worried about stage points, 4 tires, pack it full of fuel.
Caution free in this second stage. So all green flag stops being made here.
I know what I'd do if I was Chad Johnston. I'd tighten up Kyle Larson.
Yeah, you know, I've been watching
hanging it out.
These two guys, you got Matt Kenseth and Kyle Larson here. They have been battling back and forth. Matt gets right up to the back bumper right here on Larson, but I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he does, but Larson's able to stand on the gas and get away from him.
And Larson is loose, but Kenseth is coming. Pit road for the second place car. Chris?
And Matt Kenseth having fun on the radio today. That's a good sign, saying the car a little bit tight early in the run, a little bit deep in the box there. They saying the car a little tight early in the run, good in the middle part of the run, and then it loosens up late. Just going to do 2 tires, and it looks like a chassis adjustment. Nope, nope, calling the audible, going to 4.
Kenseth had to back up as he pulled in over the line. That was costly. Matt?
And Clint Boyer, good start to the weekend on Friday, qualifying third, solid run so far. He felt like the car was free, but that was more due to the clean air. A little bit longer on the left side, also the 88 of Junior's in. On the left side, the 22 of Logano's, and remember, no hose to his helmet, chassis adjustment, trying to tighten up the 22, Jamie on the 78.
Martin Truex Jr. took 4 tires last time, a little bit tighter that run on the exit and looser in. That's the first he's complained really about the car at all. It's another 4-tire stop here. Jamie McMurray in as well, Matt.
Pole sitters in, no chassis adjustments on the 42. Going to go with air pressure change. He had been working the track bar adjuster inside the race car, and he's away.
That turns the lead over to Kyle Busch. First time he has led today. Let's have a look at Matt Kenseth coming into his pit. He has one of the first pit stalls. Just past an opening there.
You saw the rear tires sliding, locking up.
Just come in hot, and he's on the line. They got to roll him back, and man, this just killed this stop. Took forever.
Very rare to see a veteran driver, Matt Kenseth, make that kind of mistake on pit road.
I think he's pumped up. He was fighting for the lead right there. He's running good. You heard him tell his spotter, "How about cheering me on here, dude?" I think he's just pumped up today.
I think he knew that sequence of pit stops right there could have gotten him the lead.
He was 0.1 of a second behind Kyle Larson when he came in, and now, well, and he was 1 second ahead of Martin Truex prior to stops. Now he's behind Truex and lost a lot of that opportunity to take the lead. More pit stops. Corey LaJoie, Ricky Stenhouse, Daniel Suarez.
Suarez running pretty darn good, top 10.
And here comes Kyle Busch. He's going to give up the lead, perhaps to Kevin Harvick if Harvick stays out.
Harvick's coming in now, Mike.
Okay.
Hamlin, they're all diving on pit road.
That'll leave Brad Keselowski to pick up the lead as he comes past the start-finish line now. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick has been tight all over today. In this last run, he said really chattering the front tires. It'll be a 4-tire stop here for the 4. Kevin Harvick, balance overall not bad.
And Kyle Busch in, right side, service complete, going on the left, no chassis adjustment. Said the car was slightly better that run. He didn't really work the track bar adjuster too much over the course of that run.
So the drivers who have not pitted: Keselowski, Bain, Johnson, Austin Dillon.
We've seen this play out before with the 2-car of Brad Keselowski. They will stay out there. Some cars might be a lap down, and they'll take that risk, take that chance, because they'll switch up their strategy, hoping that that gives them a big advantage if the caution does come out.
All right, half of that group is in. Trevor Bain and Jimmy Johnson. Larson and Truex battling for what could be the lead, or will be the lead, after Brad Keselowski stops. Jamie?
Battling hard.
Last stop for the 48 was a disaster. It took a long time. Let's see if they can make this one a little bit quicker. They want to tighten him up. Never's been saying he's just wicked loose. A 4-tire stop for the 48, taking their time, waiting on fuel. And the 2 is on pit road, guys.
Yep, Austin Dillon is in, and now Brad Keselowski will give up the lead.
Mike, there's a heck of a battle right here between the 42 and the 78. 78 passed the 42 getting in turn 1, but he bottomed out a little bit. Saw sparks come out of his car, pushed up the hill. Larson drove under him, took the lead.
Matt?
Keselowski's dad won here in ARCA races. Uncle Ron finished 5th in 2 different Cup races, 72, 73. Brad would love to score a W here. No adjustments. He said really through the course of that run, just a little free up turn 2 and into 3.
So Kyle Larson once again the leader. Here's the battle for second. Everyone on the lead lap has now made a pit stop that will carry them through stage 2.
You just got to love the fight and Kyle Larson. We just saw in that picture him jump sideways. Now Martin Truex Jr. is coming, but this is what happened a couple laps ago. Kyle Larson gets the out. I think it was actually the 78 Martin Truex Jr. trying to make a pass on Larson. Kept the outside open. Watched Larson side draft and fight back. This is into turn one. You see those sparks that you talked about, DW. Look at this crossover. He slid up the racetrack. 42 of Larson gets it turned, gets back to his left rear, side drafts down the back straightaway and completes the pass.
Side drafts, he's all over him.
He does not want to give that up.
He fights you for that lead, brother.
Going to fight it again.
Here they go.
This is live.
This is exactly what happened the last time, but Larson this time is going to have to fall in behind.
But don't you love this fight in Kyle Larson? He goes down swinging, and I'm telling you, he fights hard for every inch of the racetrack.
About 5.
There are your 3 leaders that close with 4 laps to go in stage 2. Now Keselowski has made his pit stop. He comes back on the track in 10th place. Teammate Joey Logano in 11th, just about a second behind. There's Joey just ahead of Daniel Suarez.
Mike, remember everything that went on with Eric Jones in that 77 car, having to pit for a loose wheel, doing the wave around, having to stop early. Well, right now, with 3 laps before the end of stage 2, they are in 17th, well on the lead lap, so everything has worked out for the 77 team.
A good strategy, Larry, and a nice execution by that team to get him back on the lead lap. He's got a fast car.
We're counting stage points and playoff points and the point standings, which is Kyle Larson just barely over Martin Truex coming in here today.
And you know what else I like? The battle between Larson and Truex. I like the fight in Martin Truex. He could have said, all right, kid, we're coming to the end of this stage. I've won several of them. You go ahead. But he didn't. He took the fight to him and took the lead away from him.
Now Kyle Busch closing in for second. And he's going to get it from what looks like a fading Kyle Larson.
Yeah, it looks like he really, he drove that car so hard trying to keep Truex behind him. He may have got a little too much heat built up in those tires.
Well, we saw him struggling with the loose race car prior to these pit stops. I'm sure they made an adjustment, but they're going to have to make a much bigger one. But he's certainly not giving up.
He'll come back on you, buddy.
Yeah, that's not fading, is it?
No, he'll come back.
Coming to the flag for stage 2. Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch. 1-2.
How many stages is Truex won now?
10.
10.
Nobody else won more than 4. Oh yeah, got you in my sights. Martin Truex Jr., a double stage winner in Michigan. .122 laps complete. We've completed stage 2. Martin Truex is the only driver to sweep both mid-race stages and the race. He did that in Las Vegas, and this becomes the 5th time a driver has won the first 2 stages in a race. One driver, that is. 3 times Truex has done it. Kevin Harvick and Ryan Blaney. Here's how the Coca-Cola family of drivers are faring. Almost all on the lead lap, back through Ryan Newman. Denny Hamlin in 7th, Joey Logano in 11th, and rookie Daniel Suarez. Hanging on the top 20, so is Darrell Wallace Jr.
Guys, I think we'll see a lot of different strategy here because possibly some of the guys that pitted early, they may come get at least full of fuel and right side tires. Drivers pretty much like Jimmy Johnson, who pitted late, maybe Brad Keselowski, they may even stay out. Regardless if you pit here or whether you stay out, it's pretty much a one-stop race from here for everybody.
The first two stages, 60 laps each. This second stage run caution-free. The final stage is 80 laps. A.J. Allmendinger, the 47, is the free pass car on this caution, so he'll pull around. Pit road is open. And you got a few takers from mid-pack on back, beginning with Kurt Busch. And the Penske cars, all three of them, counting the 21. Here's Jamie.
Well, you heard Kurt Busch just pitted a few laps ago before the end of the stage. He took fuel only, so he wanted 4 tires here. Balance has been pretty decent.
Matt?
And the 22 of Joey Logano says they've made the entry a little bit better on that 22, but just not the gains that he'd need. Meanwhile, service already complete on the 88 and the 2 of Keselowski.
Well, we heard from Martin Truex Jr. earlier. Jeff's got the radio in his hand. Where are we going?
I think we're going to go with Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, Jeff, up in the FS1 booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, buddy, you've shown some speed. You've gotten the lead. You've been winning the race off pit road. What do you got to do to? Looks like that car's pretty loose. What do you got to do to deal with those two in front of you?
Yeah, I'm fairly loose. The Gibbs cars, I think, are definitely the class of the field. 78 for sure is extremely fast. It's almost like he just decides when he wants to go fast and just cruises up to the front. So, got to work it out for us, but right now I feel like we're a top 4 or 5 cars, so just got to keep having good pit stops and maybe steal this thing.
All right, well, keep dirt tracking that thing like you did at the racetrack this past Tuesday when you won that World of Outlaw race. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Carrying cars 3 on his car, trying to be Lightning McQueen today. Here's the man he's got to beat for sure. Martin Truex Jr., the king of stage racing. Saw a lot of families out in the fan zone before coming up to the tower here to call this race. What a great place to spend Father's Day with a family at the races. Getting ready for the restart in another lap. Let's go and join Jamie down at the eBay Motors pit box.
Well, Mike, so often on pit stops you hear us talk about pulling tape or adding tape. These teams like to do that, and on a hot day like this you hear a lot of them say, let's pull some. So how they do that, Brian is my pit spotter, he's helping me here. The tire carrier runs around the left side, they deliver their tire, they reach forward on the grill, they pull that piece of tape. A lot of the teams like to layer these up, and they'll do the same and add tape if they need to. But what it does, it allows that air to go through and float to the engine and cool it off. And I want to thank the 24 team and the 4 for helping me with these props, guys.
Thanks, Jamie. A little warm out there today. Warm and humid here in Michigan. So Kyle Busch was talking to his spotter about lane choice on restarts.
Hey, ask the 78 if he'll take the bottom, and I'll pedal it just as far as for him. Turn 1. All right.
Well, I think we know what the answer was.
I know what I would say.
Matt.
And the reply back to Kyle Busch was that the 78 of Truex is restarted on the bottom every time. He actually would like to go up top just to see what the impact is up there for possibly later on.
I like that story.
Good answer.
That's a very good story. It's not just him and the 18. You got to remember, it's people behind him, so you can't just make it work.
Next week, something completely different. We make our first right-hand turns of the year. At Sonoma Raceway, it's the Toyota Save Mart 350. Come join us. Experience the action June 25th. Visit SonomaRaceway.com for tickets. Road racing. Wow.
I can't wait.
I love it. It's one of my favorite races of the year. Sonoma.
So beautiful out there. And a cool racetrack.
And great racing to boot.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. As they approach the Geico restart zone, Martin Truex on the outside, Kyle Busch on the inside, then Kenseth and Larson, Harvick and Boyer, Elliott and Hamlin, Kane and Suarez. Green flag. Truex is going to get that burst mid-corner that Kyle Larson enjoyed earlier.
Now the one beauty that Kyle Busch had, he also had his teammate Matt Kenseth in that outside second row, kind of cut him a break there, so it really worked out pretty good for Kyle Busch either way.
3 wide.
Tight racing down this front, but you come off turn 4, it is tight down this front straightaway.
It's amazing what that draft can do when 2 cars get connected like Clint Boyer did right there with Daniel Suarez. Push him right on by the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Here's side by side Blaney and Earnhardt Jr. Here comes Eric Jones.
I think Larson.
Side door. Still there. Bumper. Clear, 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 clear. Clear by 2. All clear, buddy.
I think Larson nailed it, though. He said those 3, those Gibbs cars are the class of the field, and right now they're showing it. Certainly Truex is not a Gibbs car, Furniture Row, but a teammate. I think a guy that's got a pretty good car, Jeff, Mike, is Matt Kenseth in that 20 car. He's running 3rd right now, but he seems to have a car that really gets better as the run goes on. He got a pretty good long run car, looked to me like.
Yes, that car looks a little nervous on restarts, but the longer they run, the better he gets. 71 laps to go. Now 4 of the top 5 right now, all restarted on the outside lane. Everybody but Kyle Busch.
Well, and look at Larson. Larson started 3rd. He's all the way back in 6th now. That inside lane, if you get stuck down there through 1 and 2, it really hurts you.
And there for 7th place goes Clint Boyer.
Mike, it's not so much what happens at the drop of the flag here, because that's pretty even. It's the momentum you carry on the outside in turn 1 that makes the difference.
Actor Stephen Furst passed away this week. We're going to dedicate our Crank It Up to the beloved Delta pledge Kent Dorfman. R.I.P. Flounder from Animal House. This Crank It Up's for you.
Nice job, buddy. By himself out there. No pressure out back. Clear about 5 still. 1 outside, just the 41. Door bumper clear. All clear by 2. By 4, yeah, still nothing there. Still by 4 out back. Room in front of 88. Nothing out front here. 1 inside. Still 1 inside. Clear. Still inside. Still got nothing. Side corner. Still inside corner. Still there. Corner. Side corner. Clear. Off it. Up to the very top. Clear. Half Carling. Nice smooth. To wave to him with his middle finger out the window down the back.
66 laps to go in Michigan. Martin Truex out in front of Kyle Busch by 9/10 of a second. But Busch is beginning to close in. Then Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, and Chase Elliott. We're going to go double wide for you.
It's where valor meets velocity. All-time greats meet all-time favorites. It's where celebration meets acceleration. Star power meets horsepower. And everything you love about the holiday meets everything a race can be. All-American meets absolutely amazing at the Coke Zero 400 powered by Coca-Cola Saturday, July 1st. Guarantee your seats at 1-800-PIT-SHOP or DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com. We're just moments away from adding a new chapter to college basketball's most storied rivalry.
KFC's new Spicy Crispy Zinger Chicken Sandwich is now available in a $5 fill-up. Because who wants to spend $7 on a meal at a burger place when you could spend $5 on a meal at KFC? You need another reason? I didn't think so. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
What goes around comes around. And as a sport that races in laps, we know that a clean race pays off in the finish. It's why NASCAR commits to green programs and biofuel, like Sunoco Green E15, so we can offset our carbon emissions. We're not going to stop making a difference, and neither should you. Learn how you can help by visiting NASCAR.com/green today.
Welcome back to Michigan. 62 laps to go, and Kyle Busch is closed to within half a second of race leader Martin Truex Jr. Time to take a look at today's Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Well, Mike, he's our points leader. He's our race leader. He's the only one that swept 2 stages and the race win this year, and I think he does it again. Martin Truex Jr.
Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth has not had the start to 2017. Only 3 top 5 finishes, and it's been 11 months since he won a race. This race has the look of Matt Kenseth's long green run for that 20 car.
Kevin Harvick has finished in the second 5 of the last 8 races here. Today, we're going to move up 1 spot. Kevin Harvick.
I like Kyle Busch. I'm a big fan of the way he aggressively gets on and off pit road. You said it, Larry McGriddle's long green run. That means a green flag pit stop. He might take the lead when we'd have our pit stops, but if not, he'll grab it on a late restart. Kyle Busch wins this, baby.
I always have to pick last, so keep an eye on Chase Elliott, last year's Rookie of the Year, 2 runner-up finishes at Michigan last year. Can he improve that 1 spot today?
Now, Mike, you know, you don't always pick last.
I think it's
You're doing okay.
I think it's a blessing. Look at DW. Look at me down here. You want to talk about a guy that's not doing so hot. That's what you call that, a duck egg?
Yeah, that's that. You need to break your duck before our season ends. Wow.
Whoa, what happened
this
there?
Battle between the 31 and Newman.
This has gone on.
He's outside. He cut her off. Now you'll drive away.
This has been going on all day. We saw Darrell Wallace Jr. during a break very close to Ryan Newman. And one thing we said, you don't want to do that.
You mess with that bull, you're going to get the horns.
You can see Newman gets right to his left ear trying to loosen him up. Almost spun him around as they made contact. Got to give Darrell Wallace Jr. a lot of credit for staying in the gas.
I ain't going to get away from him. I got to go.
Trying to pack air right on you. Nice and easy.
Maybe a little bit more in air, my friend.
Still right on you.
They're battling.
I think they're going to his outside. He cut her off. Now you'll drive away.
21st was at stake there. Dale Jr. passing Daniel Suarez. That's for 11th. They've traded that spot back and forth. So you know what? Let's share a Coke and share a ride with Daniel Suarez. Saw Daniel's dad with him walking out to driver introductions pre-race.
He just, I love, you know, this guy, it's crazy how he does. Right now he's running in the 12th spot. At the end of the day, he will probably get a top 10 finish, and he just quietly goes about his business and ends up with nice finishes almost every week.
Yeah, I kind of expected, if you really look at the amount of experience that Daniel has in a stock car, moving up to the Cup Series, I really thought we'd see him be really aggressive and maybe make some big mistakes, but it's quite the opposite. He's very patient, methodical, and knows how to be there at the end of the day in a solid top 10 finish, and that's why he's leading these points.
Yeah, I think he learned that lesson in the Xfinity Series last year. He early in the season last year had a lot of problems, wrecked a lot, got in trouble. Middle of last year, he really calmed down. He became a much smarter driver, much more mature driver, and I think he's brought that experience right on over here to Cup, and it's really paying off.
Ty Dillon, Paul Menard. Now Dillon they're both a lap down. They're racing for 25th. Here's Martin Truex now 0.8 of a second. Kyle Busch had closed to within half a second, but got no closer, and now Truex is pulling away. 54 laps to go in Michigan.
Our story begins more than 60 years ago inside an abandoned chicken coop where our founder discovered a retired teacher living. No home, no health care. So she said no to this injustice and yes to transforming lives. It's this drive, this compassion that inspired AARP. Today, we empower people to choose how they live as they age. We advocate for health and financial security. We strengthen communities everywhere. We are AARP, creating real possibilities.
I was made in the shadows of greatness, shaped by the hands of legacy, forged in the fires of racing. I've been challenged, tested, and proven. Whether it's on that track or off, the truth is, what you're made of is what you're made to do.
Can't thank everybody up here enough, and everybody at the shop.
I'd like to say thank you to them that are watching at home and in the stands.
Thanks to Lance Corporal Daniel F. Swain.
I want to thank the Army, the Navy,
Lance Corporal Scott Harper and the local VA,
Master Sergeant Anthony Ray Charles Yost,
Corporal John Harrison Keener Jr.,
and Petty Officer Joshua Thomas Harris.
I just want to thank the Marines.
I'd like to thank the USO.
I just want to thank the Air Force.
And Lance Corporal Taylor Przenski.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
The land of the free because of the brave.
Geico Motorcycle. Great rates for great rides.
Wine country, where wines are savored, sought after, or just sprayed wildly.
Saturday on FS1, led by the Thunder in the heart of their lineup. The Brewers look to continue their unexpected run against Matt Kemp and the Braves. Then on Fox,
This is belted out of here.
Albert Pujols takes aim at the monster.
Gone!
As the Angels take on Mookie Betts and the Red Sox. Major League Baseball, Saturday on FS1 and Fox.
Ryan Sieg is spun at turn 4, lap 150, bringing out the caution flag. With 50 laps to go, and this happens pretty close in front of Martin Truex.
Oh, that was a big moment for Martin Truex Jr. He almost spun around trying to avoid Ryan Sieg.
I think he was, I don't think he was sure he was going to come down the racetrack, and he thought he might have to go under him. So I think he just made an evasive move that almost bit him.
Certainly got his attention
Sieg
and
was-
took his breath.
Yeah, Sieg
Well, guys,
was 33rd, 2 laps down, and pit road will be open. Larry.
It never fails. I think everyone will pit for 4 tires here, but you better save under caution, and you absolutely need to pack it full of Sunoco fuel, because remember, the fuel window is somewhere around 44 to 48 laps. We're coming to 49 to go, just right there on the window.
All right, here come the lead lap cars, led by Martin Truex. Chris.
And Matt Kenseth slid through the box on that last stop. Going to try and be perfect on this stop. He said he can't roll the center of the corner the way he wants. The back end of the car just sliding too much on entry. Going to be 4 tires. Jamie.
Kevin Harvick said he's still tight. Hasn't really changed any with the adjustments. They made air pressure in 4. 78 Martin Truex Jr. calm, cool, and collected on the radio. 4 tire stop, no changes, Matt.
Kyle Busch snug on the front end of that run. They're going to make a chassis adjustment. It depended more just on the wake of the cars were around him. Right side tires only. He's away. The 42 of Larson, he's going to take 4. He was both tight and loose, but running pretty much the same speed of all the cars around him.
Look at Eric Jones, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Ryan Blaney gambling with 2 tires and moving up a lot of spots.
Well, we saw that work earlier today.
Ricky Stenhouse, too fast entering.
Having a pretty good day. He was sitting there in about 13th place.
I'm not sure what happened there with Casey Kane. Danica Patrick, the free pass. So 49 laps to go. We're going to do our Liberty Mutual Insurance spotter coverage and listen along with Clayton Hughes, Martin Truex's spotter.
She watches the mirror. She's up here watching. Still middle, still middle. No, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on.
Ooh. That's how Clayton Hughes helped Martin Truex worry less. With our Liberty Mutual Insurance spotter coverage.
And Mike, you just have a split second to make a decision. Is he going to come on down the track, or is he going to stay up the middle of the track? I think that's what Martin was really faced with in a second there.
Just go back to what Larry Mack was talking about, how close this is going to be on fuel. You can be assured all these drivers are saving fuel from inside the car right now. As soon as they came off pit road, accelerate and then shut the engine off.
This is my favorite. I love it though. It takes some strategy, man. It's not luck. It's skill and strategy to win a fuel mileage race.
Darrell Wallace Jr. letting out the clutch to start that engine back up.
There's that race off pit road.
For the rest of them.
That's the difference between 2 tires.
And the next cars to him were cars that also took 2 tires. The red 77 of Jones and the green 88 of Earnhardt.
Yeah, they were just quite a bit further back in the running order when they came down pit road.
Well, we know the 42 didn't like 2 tires. Earlier in the race, remember, he took 2 and he fell back. So they took 4 this time.
2 yellow, 2 yellow. 2 yellow, 2 yellow, 2 yellow. Right there. Good job.
There's some saving fuel as soon as you get off pit road. You can hear that engine go silent. That's what the drivers do. Some drivers have a button on the steering wheel or on the dash. They just push in the clutch, shut that engine off, and coast as far as they can. That's the best way you can save fuel.
Yeah, just remember, folks, if the engine isn't running, it's not burning any fuel.
That's true. 1 to go and we'll restart. I got my Father's Day gift early this year. After Pocono, Scott and I flew to Detroit to go meet with the Ford folks and got to drive the new Ford GT.
Whoa, man.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful car.
It's a race car with turn signals.
Beautiful.
Wow. That was such a blast. Let's have a look at our Busch race summary as we close in on the final 45 laps of this race. Kyle Busch is our leader. 30 cars on the lead lap. we've had 4 different leaders: Larson, Truex, Kyle Busch, and Keselowski. 9 lead changes and just 5 caution flags, including the 2 stage-ending cautions for 22 laps. Martin Truex Jr. has swept the 2 stages. Now we listen in on Kyle Larson's team for a little strategy here.
All right, bud. So we're going to be real close here on fuel. We're going to run it hard until about 10 to go, and then at 10 to go, if it looks like it's going to go green, then I'll have you start saving. We should be able to save more than enough to get us to the end there.
So it's close, but it's not critically close, or he would start saving now. So we're going to let him run hard here, see what we can do. Get down to 10 to go. Then we got to back off a little bit. Establish your position.
Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Earnhardt, and Blaney all with 2 tires. They will restart out front. Pace cars in. They approach the Geico restart zone. It'll be 46 to go when they get to the line. Green flag.
Really keep an eye on that outside lane. Big gains have been happening on the outside versus the inside on these restarts.
Pretty good so far.
Is that Truex really struggling on the inside?
Whoa, yeah.
That's really a lot of positions.
Back way up there. You know, Jeff, 2 guys that are really finding their way close to the front every time we get near one of these caution flags. That 24 car, Chase Elliott, running 3rd, and Dale Jr. running 6th. Those 2 cars have found their way to the front here late in the going.
And Truex has fallen to 9th. He is really going to have to giddy up go. Larson to the bottom. Keselowski side by side with Kurt Busch.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that. That is amazing.
That's a traffic jam at 210 miles per hour.
Whoa, and the 31 kind of moved to 43 up the hill.
We knew it was coming.
Keselowski against Kenseth for 12th. And on your left, Jones Hamlin for 6th. Harvick moving underneath Keselowski. That's for 13th. Let's go back to the restart and watch Martin Truex, 3rd back on the inside.
Oh, yeah, he just got loose right there in the center of the corner.
Jamie.
Well, he came on the radio after that and he said, this car is shaking like crazy. I have no idea what's going on. The crew is watching. He hasn't said anything else about it. They're keeping an eye on it.
I think it's just low air pressure, probably. Real low air pressure. Gets in the corner, gets a little bit loose. Probably upsetting a little bit because they haven't seen that the whole race.
Well, we did see in practice some drivers talk about different sets of tires getting vibrations. Don't know if maybe that's something in this set of tires he's dealing with.
I think it was just a big shock to him, Jeff. I mean, we've seen him take off on every restart, but we saw him struggle on this one.
Up front, a lap ago, excuse me, Kyle Busch had company. Ryan Blaney was almost to Kyle Busch's bumper entering turn 3. Blaney could not get off turn 4, and that produced the gap you see here, half a second.
How about that Blaney kid? Won last week, and here he is running 2nd, chasing after Kyle Busch. Pretty cool.
Kyle and Blaney, then a gap to Chase Elliott. 3rd, 2 seconds back. Jamie?
And you talk about this being Father's Day. Chase's dad, Bill Elliott, most starts here of anyone. 61, he has 7 wins. Chase Elliott trying to get his 1st win here at Michigan. It wasn't easy to get here in the top 5. They made wholesale changes before final practice yesterday. They just couldn't find the speed. Turn 3 was the biggest issue, but today that race pace has definitely fed into the way this car is handling. It is good right now.
Closing on him is Kyle Larson, our pole sitter. Larson's led the most laps today, 81. He's 2.6 back. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., remember, Jr. took 2 tires on that last stop. He's now 3.6 off the lead in 5th. Here's the comeback story of the day.
Boy, I'll say.
Eric Jones.
What an incredible job. Strategy played out well. They've done a good job, and here he is running up in the top 6.
Denny Hamlin filling up his rearview mirror. Hamlin in 7th, 4.4 seconds back. And then Martin Truex, who had to restart third row back on the inside, and that cost him dearly after winning the first 2 stages. Clint Boyer spent the first half of the race in the top 5. This second half of the race, he stayed in the top 10, but hasn't passed a bunch of cars lately. He's in 9th, 5.2 back.
Yeah, just kind of hold his own.
And here's Jimmy Johnson right where he was at the end of stage 1 in 10th place, 5.8 back. Jamie McMurray on the move here in 11th. And Matt Kenseth, who ended stage 2 in 4th place, now finds himself 12th.
Mike, so many of these positions and drivers that you're talking about that are have either lost positions or not gaining, all started on the inside on that final restart.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to me. The 78 fell back. You saw him get loose getting into 1 on the restart. But think about Jimmy Johnson. He has struggled all day long to get himself back up in the top 10, and I think he's got a decent race car.
6th place. Hamlin, who took 4 tires, taking advantage of Jones, who got just 2.
That's who has the decent race cars, Denny Hamlin. If he could start in that outside lane, maybe get a caution and start in that outside lane, I think you would see him be a real factor.
Okay.
Now remember, Kyle Busch in the 18 car is working with interim crew chief Ben Bayshore. Let's take a look at this 2-tire stop. Watch the fuel man. 1 can, 1 can, 1 can, 2 right side tires. He had run 39 laps. He absolutely had to have that car full of fuel, and he needed it to go to the end. I cannot make myself believe that Kyle Busch is full of fuel or has enough to go to the end.
Boy, it sure doesn't look like with 1 can. I didn't see gas come out of it, Matt.
And DW, what they've told him is run as hard as you need to keep the lead. Otherwise, try to conserve.
Yeah, okay. Let me see what I can do.
I'm just wondering, are they sort of banking, looking at some trends in their notes that they believe a caution is going to come out? Great battle here between Larson and the 24 Chase Elliott.
They're fighting for 3rd, trying to see who's going to be the first Chevrolet.
Wow.
That was close.
Tight.
That was almost too close.
Yeah, Larson went down on the apron, and they came right up in front of the 24 of Chase Elliott and almost clipped him. That was close, guys. Watch this, Mike. He comes down this front, and he'll go all the way down. You'll see the dust fly here in a second.
And see, he caught it perfect. He caught the edge of the rear bumper of Chase Elliott just as they come off the corner. Wow. That holds Chase Elliott back, and that's what allowed him to get all the way up there and barely clear the 24.
Woo. Son.
Kyle Busch the first Toyota, Ryan Blaney the first Ford, Kyle Larson the first Chevrolet. They're running 1, 2, 3, 35 to go, double wide.
We'll go so we can offset our carbon emissions. We're not going to stop making a difference, and neither should you. Learn how you can help by visiting NASCAR.com/green today.
People know me as Dale Earnhardt Jr. race car driver, but I have many sides. When I retire, I'll be Golden Years Dale. I'll catch big fish, climb big mountains. I'll surf some really big waves.
And you'll run some big errands because we're out of mayo.
Mayo. Got it. Going for that mayo. For planning your retirement and more, Nationwide is on your side.
Crisp, cold refreshment. It's what Busch is known for. What are you known for?
I'm cool under pressure. What is that? A fish hook? Golly.
Busch. With Smithfield Fresh Pork, the possibilities are endless, so you can bring great flavor to any meal. With a variety of hand-trimmed cuts, from chops to tenderloins to ribs, Smithfield uses the highest quality fresh pork to bring out the best in every dish. And because Smithfield Fresh Pork can be easily prepared in so many delicious ways, you can bring great flavor to the table any night of the week. Smithfield Fresh Pork. Flavor hails from Smithfield.
I miss you, babe.
I wish you were here. I miss home.
For those who find a way, always unstoppable.
Wine country, where wines are savored, sought after, or just sprayed wildly.
Just 31 laps to go in Michigan. Time for an eBay Motors race break. And Kyle Busch, he's led 11 races this season. He's been passed for the final lead change 4 times in those 11. Still searching for his first win, but he's got the fastest time today, over 195 miles per hour, and he's leading Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, but Chris, we have fuel concerns. The guys documented how close it was for that car being full of gas, and he's ever dropped to get to the checkered.
Now Ryan Blaney in that Ford last week, first career win. He's trying to become the first driver since the 60s, mid-60s, to win his first career race and then win the second week. Can he stay with Kyle Busch?
And the history that the Wood brothers have with the Ford Motor Company, I know how special it'd be for them to win right here outside of Motor City.
Could Chase Elliott get his first career win? Because, Michael, the Hendrick Chevrolets, no laps led today, no laps led at Pocono. Remember last week, 3 of their 4 drivers failed to finish.
And, you know, he just got blown off the road by Kyle Larson. Kyle drove right around him. He and Dale Jr. were running 4th and 5th. Chase got passed by Larson, but wow, I don't know what happened to Dale Jr. He came off turn 2, lost all of his momentum, and over 2 laps, Chris, lost 7 positions. He's all the way outside the top 10 now.
All right, so let's glance back for a moment and see what exactly happened to the 88.
You can see Martin Truex pulls right up on him, and the back end of that car just got out from underneath Dale Jr. He had to chase it up the hill, and he just loses all that momentum and gets passed by several cars.
All right, let's listen to the radio transmission on Dale Jr.'s crew.
Your track far out, buddy. Down a half, right. Just say you can get down a little further. Put it down if I need it. Just put it down. I'll get it there. Step up.
You heard the frustration from Jimmy Johnson earlier when he was talking with his crew chief, Chad Knaus. Dale Jr. sounds the same way. When a car doesn't handle well, Chris, at a tough track like Michigan, just think how narrow the groove is in the turns. And you're going in there at over 210 miles an hour. It can get very frustrating in a hurry.
6 times the races of Michigan have been settled by a last lap pass. We might be in for another one depending upon the fuel of Kyle Busch and if Blaney or Larson can make their move. That's your eBay Motors race break. Let's head back upstairs to Darrell, Jeff, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. Jeff won a race here at Michigan on a last lap pass. Darrell was beaten on the last lap here by David Pearson. So both of you fellas know what that's like from one side or the other. Jamie.
Well, you guys noted Michael was talking about the 88. He got loose and fell back, but that's the only radio transmission he had. He's like, why are you worried about where my track bar is? But Greg Ives did tell him we are good to get to lap 200. Anything you save after that is a bonus. You guys think he's just saving a little bit right now?
I don't think so.
I would say so if we hadn't seen him get loose and have to check up.
I think he's got other problems.
I'll tell you what Ryan Blaney has as a problem right now, and that's a mere full of Kyle Larson.
The fastest cars on track right now are Larson, Hamlin, and Truex. Boyer and Jones battling with McMurray.
Well, and our leader, Kyle Busch, he's fast also, but he cannot possibly have as much fuel as those that took 4 tires. I just don't see it.
I mean, even when we watched the gas, man, I didn't see any gas bubbling out the back of the car. They needed another can of fuel, or at least partial can of fuel.
I would say right now Dale Jr. is okay. You just saw the shot of Brad Keselowski. When we went to break, he was right on Junior's bumper. Dale is now driven away from Keselowski. So whatever was ailing that 88 or whatever he was trying to figure out seems to be okay and on pace right now. Watching the battle for second as Ryan Blaney tries to get the Wood brothers their 100th win, and here comes Kyle. Matt?
Mike, the same gas mileage plan for both the 21 and the 42 to run as hard as they can till about 10 laps to go. Then if they need to go into fuel conservation mode, the Wood brothers 21 not planning on coming back at this juncture. The same for the 77 of Eric Jones back in 10th. They feel like that they can possibly save enough to make it to the finish.
Larry, how close are they? You know, you're telling them save a little if you can, but how close really is it?
Well, I think for about the whole field, as it was documented about Dale Earnhardt Jr., go to lap 200. That's what the race is. Pitting with 49 to go, and then we went back racing with 46 to go. I think everybody is just right there on the threshold, but my big concern, especially for our leader Kyle Busch, the drivers that changed just right side, were they there long enough to pack that fuel?
Good question. A lot of the one-lap down cars pitting, including Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon in.
How about this 78 car? Boy, is he making a comeback.
He and Denny Hamlin. The last 10 or 12 laps, they've been the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Yeah, and that 78 is, I mean, he's catching the 11. So the 78 is really, really fast, but he's got a lot of distance to make up.
Well, do you have what it takes to become the next NASCAR champion? Download NASCAR Heat Mobile today. We saw Denny Hamlin hold back Martin Truex Jr. Hamlin continues in 5th. Let's go to his pit, Chris.
That's right, Mike. He's got a really fast race car today. Early in the run, he did say that the front tires are chattering way too much. But after about 10 laps, that car starts coming to him. Checking with that team on fuel, they say they're about 1 lap short.
That's only 2 miles. It's half a gallon.
Only. Here's Kyle Larson's radio. Now he's in 2nd, 1.4 seconds back.
So here's the deal. That 18's out in front of you. He took 2 tires, so he's probably not full. So just save me as much as you can here without giving up any spots from behind. Debris down the back. Not gonna do us any good. I don't think that we.
Caution for debris. Well, this changes everything, Larry.
It sure does.
Well, I just think we've run roughly 25 laps since that last caution. I don't think anybody's going to come in and get 4 tires. I think you're going to give up too much track position, but we may see a lot of 2-tire stops here. But I think this is what Kyle Busch needed. If you did change 4 tires on that last caution, you know what? King Air's clean. Maybe just stay out.
Yeah, this caution is this is a gift for Kyle Busch.
I believe it is too, Mike, because there's no way he was going to make it on fuel. I think even this team knew that, and they were trying to figure out what they're going to do about it.
About 4 laps ago, Chris Buescher made the left turn into the garage area, making him the first car out of the race.
But Mike, just think about the strategy right now at this point. Do I take fuel? Do I take 2? Do I take 4? These guys on these pit box right now, they have got a hard decision to make about what to do. Track position is king. Clean air is king, and you got to take all those things into consideration when you figure out what am I going to do on this stop.
That's not what I said. King Air is king. I know.
King Air. There you go.
It's good to be king.
I like King Air.
He knows all about King Airs, Larry.
Ty Dillon will get the free pass, so we will restart with at least 25 cars on the lead lap. Well, I don't know. Do you want 4 tires or you want track position?
I want both.
I know you do, but I can't give you both.
That's what I want as a driver, but.
Well, there's only 20 laps to go. I think 20 laps to go, you don't necessarily need to have those 4 tires.
But listen, last week there was only 15 laps to go, and we saw what happened to the 18 when he stayed out.
I know one thing. I want to restart on the outside.
That's a good point. No, they've all.
No! All right, Keselowski, or is that Kenseth? Kenseth will be the first car onto pit road, then Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr. Here's Chris.
And we see Matt Kenseth coming to pit lane. Oh, looks like a bit of a problem here. Once again, overshooting that pit box, guys. He did that earlier in the race. He just got stuck behind traffic and couldn't do anything with it. Said the car was way too tight. Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson, a 4-tire stop here. Been working on the car. Was extremely loose early and then snugged it up. The 88 in as well.
Matt?
And both Penske cars hit pit road as well, while most of those leaders stayed out. Keselowski in the 2, he took on 4 tires.
So the first 14 cars stayed out. I said this caution was a blessing for Kyle Busch. Only if he pitted. They must know something we don't know. We'll find out shortly.
Have you heard the story of the hot rod race where the Fords and Lincolns were setting the pace? That story is true. I'm here to say I was driving that Model A. got a Lincoln motor in it. It's really souped
Look,
up.
Commander Cody.
Yeah, baby.
So many great hit songs about cars and cars that rolled out of the Motor City. And ever since they started to race cars, they've been concerned about gas mileage. Wow.
Every one of these cars that did not come down pit road extremely aggressively saving fuel under this caution.
So we talked during break, and maybe this caution was a blessing for Kyle Busch after all.
Well, it is either way, because caution comes out, he can immediately shut the engine off and coast and save fuel. The question is, how short is he? We truly believe he's short. We don't know how many laps. We think certainly more than those that took 4 tires and filled their cars up with fuel. But I don't know if this one caution is going to be enough for him to be able to run hard all the way to the end. I think this does put the 42 in a position to run hard, and those others that took 4.
In no way am I trying to throw Ben Basher under the bus. I mean, he's the crew chief here, but last week I didn't like the strategy of staying out. I'm not sure that's the right strategy today. We're going to have to really, we're really going to have to see here how it works out.
They'll have 16 laps to go when they come back around and take the green. As you'll see from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear learns making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. So it's Kyle Busch on the outside of Kyle Larson. They're going to add 1 lap.
Ooh, that helps.
That helps everybody.
Yep.
It's 1 more lap.
Debris on the front straightaway.
It's 2 more miles.
So Kyle is the first of 13 drivers who stayed out. Kyle Larson alongside Blaney and Elliott, Truex and Hamlin, Boyer, McMurray, row 4, Eric Jones and Harvick, row 5.
Well, you can see Ryan Blaney. You hear nothing, right? There's no engine running. That's the on-off switch on the dash. He pushes in the clutch, leaves it in probably 2nd gear, shuts that power off, and then when he's slowing down enough, he starts to release that clutch. It fires right back up immediately.
You know who I like in this scenario right here? We watch that 78 car. He's running 5th, Martin Truex. He was the fastest car on the track, maybe a little bit faster than Kyle Busch. Like to see how it's going to work out for him.
The only problem for him, Darrell, he's got to start in the inside lane.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a problem.
Here's what we're hearing from Kyle Larson's pit, Matt.
Mike, game on for the 42. Chad Johnson told him we are 2 laps of the good.
Yeah, so before, remember when they came in under that last caution, not this one, the one prior to that, they said, okay, we're real close. We'll tell you if we need you to save fuel with 10 to go. 1 caution. Now all of a sudden they're 2 to the good. That's how much fuel they're saving, not just by riding under caution, by shutting the engine off under caution.
Yep. Well, let's see who ends up front coming out of turn 2 after we go green. The first 5 cars in the outside lane are Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Jamie McMurray, and Kevin Harvick.
And remember, all these guys are on, you know, they're not on brand new tires this time. So they're on tires they've been out there on. So got to get them cleaned up, get them all cleaned up before we take the green flag here. That's important. See them all just getting all the debris off the tires before you take the green. This could be a critical restart, Mike, because with hot tires have been on the car, you can spin the tires real easy now. So this is going to be real critical.
So the first cars with new tires. Number 6, Trevor Bayne, 88, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse, Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson. It'll be 15 to go, green flag.
Wow, look at this move by Larson. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Yeah, he does clear the 18. Great push from the 21 from behind to get him that lead.
Truex comes out in 3rd, a stack up there in the middle of the pack. Whoa, a couple of them.
Yeah, on the 5 and the 88, I believe it was.
And the 78, Martin Truex. They got surrounded on both sides.
Inside lane has not been his friend
no,
at all.
That just kills him. He can go nowhere when he starts on that bottom down there.
Chase Elliott goes to 2nd place, gets by Kyle Busch.
And he restarted second row outside. Good spot.
Whoa, a car up the hill hard. I think he's going to get in the wall. I can't tell who it is.
Clint Boyer.
Keep it up there. Yellow's out. Keep it up there. Keep it up there. Keep it up there.
Caution.
Let us know if your right sides are flat. Keep it up there.
Yeah, Boyer got pushed up the hill and he got into the wall. You can see the car smoking, so he got right side damage.
Boyer was running 7th, and there is another break for Kyle Busch, concerned about fuel.
Yeah, but he got passed, so I think that you might see them come down to get some fresher tires. Oh yeah, you see Boyer just trying to squeeze through the middle there, and between the 22 coming up a little bit and the air taking off his quarter panel from the 1.
Yeah, he just drove in hard trying to clear both those cars, the one on the outside and the 22 on the inside, and he got loose on him.
Now let's go back 2 laps and watch Logano and Earnhardt on the restart here.
Casey Kane.
Big loose moment by the 5 of Casey Kane. Look at how the momentum kills you when you lose it.
That was a big stack up we talked about toward the back of the field.
And Dale Jr. fell all the way back to 20th.
I just think there's very little grip down there and the aerodynamic disadvantage of being on that inside lane. Pretty heavy damage here on the 14 of Boyer.
Boy, I'll say.
I thought he did a really nice job to save it as much as he did. It was a big slide. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, he tried to go between the 1 and the 22. He drove it in a little too hard trying to clear those 2 cars, and it just got loose on him. A little arrow loose, and up the hill he went.
Boyer started 3rd. This will be a quickie yellow, which means that all cars are eligible to pit this time. And then we'll line them up and go back to green. 13 to go right now.
Well, if Kyle Larson could win this race, he would only be the 4th guy this year to lead the most laps and win the race.
I feel like Kyle Busch is kind of locked in. We see Trevor Bayne coming to pit road. Comes Dale Jr. and a few others.
Al Menard's in. Casey Kane. Landon Castle. Not many takers.
Mike, this is amazing. Kurt Busch won Daytona, he led 1 lap. Austin Dillon won Charlotte, he led 2 laps. Newman won Phoenix, he led 6 laps. Johnson won Dover, led 7 laps, and Blaney last week led 10 laps. So the guys with the fastest cars that lead the most laps are not guaranteed they're going to win this thing.
You're setting me up for Chase Elliott, aren't you?
I am, because I think that may be what just happens.
Well, here's what's interesting. If you go back to that last restart, what worked out so well for Larson was he just caught the quarter panel of Kyle Busch. So he got a pretty good start. Even though Busch jumped out there, he was able to get a push from behind and get to that quarter panel and then side draft and clear him to the middle 1 and 2.
Well, Chase Elliott's team is talking passing strategies.
Either lane you get, just think about what you want to do, what you need to do to beat him to turn 1. That's going to be the key. It's got in there past Kyle. Yeah, 10-4.
Yeah, I love how cool these drivers are. Yeah, 10-4.
Well,
like, no problem.
And if we go back through last year and some of the history with Chase Elliott, he struggled a lot on restarts, spinning tires and just not getting the jump, maybe getting some contact from behind. That has been a focus for that team. They have worked really hard to improve their restarts.
And he doesn't want to finish 2nd here for the 3rd race in a row. Next week, we go to the West Coast for something completely different.
Like a fine wine, the Monster Energy Cup Series keeps getting better. We head to Sonoma for some road racing in wine country, and anything can happen on this tricky track. Coverage starts Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1.
That's next Sunday. Right now, we've got 11 laps to go in Michigan, and they're going to line up Noah's Ark style. 2 Chevys on the front row, 2 Toyotas on the 2nd row, 2 Fords on the 3rd row.
Well, that 2nd row is the critical part of this race. That push that comes from behind, is so important. So let's go to Kyle Larson. You've got the 11 of Denny Hamlin pushing you. Okay, I think he's in pretty good shape, and Joey Logano in the 3rd row. Let's go to Chase Elliott. He has Kyle Busch, great pusher. Unfortunately, Kyle Busch doesn't push. He's going to take him 3 wide, unfortunately, for Chase. If Chase can get that push from the 18, I believe he has a shot at clearing Larson.
Yeah, I believe Kyle Busch will take him 3 wide into turn 1 with the 24 hung in the middle, and that's going to hurt him. But Kyle Busch, he'll push you all right. He'll push you right out of the way.
So now on this restart, things are different, because the first car with the fresher tires isn't back in 18th. It's Joey Logano in the 3rd row.
Yeah, only 2 right side tires on that last stop, but they are a little bit fresher than those around him.
I think that there's so much pressure when we get rid of the 42's in the catbird seat. He's got the 11 behind him. That's a good combination. The guy that's really worried right now is Chase Elliott down on that bottom, which hadn't been very successful. He's not the best restarter in the world, and he's got Kyle Busch behind him.
Well, now on the last restart, Kyle Larson took the lead from the inside. So we'll just have to wait and see, as Bill Elliott says.
This is one of them racing deals.
Green flag.
Really nice start by the 24 that time.
Almost think too good of a start, because now the 42's to his quarter panel going into the corner.
Ooh, we got loose.
Something's wrong with Blaney. He's not going anywhere, backing up the whole field.
Looked like he and got a bump there from Harvick.
Oh, they got a wreck. They got a wreck.
Big wreck behind you.
Heavy impact to the inside wall by Danica.
Oh, you see the left rear, the 21 is down.
Both Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney got really loose down there in turn 1. And you saw what ensued. Let's have a look first from our Goodyear aerial coverage and watch the 24 and the 21.
Yeah, the 21 of Blaney just gets loose right there.
Slides up in front
of the 4.
Yeah,
they just all stack up from there. Here comes Danica. The pretty nice run. Yeah, she had nowhere to go.
Bubba Wallace got into the back of the 19 of Suarez and shot him over into Danica.
Yeah, after there was contact between Suarez and
Wallace got in the back of the 19,
and
shot him down the hill. Right here, you'll see it. Here comes Danica's going to show up here in a second. Now watch the 43.
Yeah, the 21, the 4, and the 19 make contact, and then the 19 comes down.
43 right, yeah.
All right, Danica's out of her car. She is okay. We're going to ride with Kevin Harvick.
Needed your left rear as well. Top roll a little better this time. Easy, easy. Outside, inside now, inside now. Middle pretty tight.
Looked like the 19 sort of squeezed the 4 up into the 21. He makes contact with the outside wall. They ricochet.
Coming outside, outside. 3 wide middle, 3 wide middle, 2 outside, 1 in, 2 outside, 1 in.
Did he go to 3rd gear?
2 outside, 1 inside.
Couldn't hear.
Almost thought he went to 3rd gear.
Caution's out. 21 must have had a flat here in Jim. Get low.
Riding with Bubba Wallace.
Still inside. 2 above you, 1 below.
Right there.
Stay with it, bud.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go.
Easy, dig straight. The 5's still inside. Keep hustling. The caution will be behind you. You're ahead of that 5.
These 3 cars get almost glued together coming off the corner. The 19, the 4, and the 21.
I think right there's what cut Blaney's left rear down. When the 4 got into him, then everybody took evasive action, and Danica was the worst for the wear.
Here's Ryan Blaney's radio.
Got a flat left rear. There's a 4 just running to me on the straightaway.
Well,
when he sees the video, he'll realize the 19 got up into the 4 that got into the 21.
Blaney got up the hill over here off turn 2, and he was out there in the outside, and he couldn't really go anywhere, and that's what let the 4 get up alongside of him, and they made contact.
So Kevin Harvick has made a pit stop to repair damage. So did A.J. Allmendinger, Clint Boyer, Daniel Suarez, Blaney, and McDowell. Blaney's coming back in for another stop.
Yeah, I don't think Blaney had a flat tire until the 4 got into him off the 2 over there. That cut his tire down.
A big pileup down in turns 1 and 2 changes the complexion of this race with 8 laps to go. One lap to go, but Jeff wants to take you through the last 2 restarts and show you the difference in the battle for the lead.
Well, look at where the 18 is here on this restart, where Kyle Larson is. The 18 gets a pretty good jump out there. Kyle Larson gets a nice push from the 21, but watch where he gets to the quarter panel. The left rear there of the 18 comes very late on the straightaway as they enter the corner. His momentum never changes. Right there, he gets to the left rear of that quarter panel, side drafts, keeps the momentum, and clears him as they get down to the middle of 1 and 2. Now let's compare that to the last restart with the 24 Chase Elliott. Chase gets a great restart, gets a nice push from the 18. But look at the 42. I think he even checks up a little bit to not allow that same thing to happen to him. Now the 24 is in the exact opposite situation where the 42 gets to his right rear and side drafts and keeps his momentum going into the corner.
So now it'll be Larson and Hamlin on the front row. Logano and Elliott, row 2. Kyle Busch and McMurray. Truex and Stenhouse, Eric Jones and Kurt Busch are the top 10. 26 lead lap cars. Austin Dillon got the free pass.
22
and we'll have 5 laps to go.
22 might be in good shape here, guys. He's got the freshest tires.
And everybody but Larson has not won a race yet this year. Larson's done a great job here being in the same position as he was of the 24. He's going to get the lead.
Oh, the 24,
nice job
by Chase to get into second place.
Now, how much of a factor are those newer right side tires on the 22 and Logano? He's so good on these restarts.
Tell you what, though, when you got a car you're outside like that, can he get around the 11? That's the thing. I don't think he can. 11's going to hold him down.
And Kyle Busch dropped back to 8th on that restart.
And look at Logano. He so desperately wants to side draft that 11 and get past him because he knows he's got a little bit better car. He did it.
That was it. Again, that side draft, he perfectly timed it and made contact with 11. There's where the smoke's coming from.
Uh-oh.
I don't think Hamlin's real happy about that.
No, he isn't.
Chevy, Ford, Toyota, the front 4. Coming to 3 laps to go.
Boy, Mike, that Larson kid, he loves these 2-mile tracks. You think about it, he won the race here last fall. He won California 2-mile track, and here he is leading this race with just a few laps to go.
The 22 Logano, he aggressively goes up there to try to side draft, but he makes a little bit of contact to the left rear fender of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. That's where that tire smoke's coming from, but he did complete the pass. Logano did.
That was a slide draft.
This is how this race ended here in August with Larson out front. Chase Elliott chasing him.
This will be the third, what is his third race in a row for Chase Elliott to finish second. And the third 2-mile win for the car leading the race, 42.
Boy, Hamlin trying everything to get back to Logano. It's the race for 3rd. Kyle Busch has passed Stenhouse for 7th. Ricky Solid in the top 10 in 8th. Of the top 7, only Joey Logano has those 25 lap pressure tires.
Boy, what is it about Kyle Larson and 2-mile race?
I don't know, but he loves them. I think they're just big sweeping turns, and he likes that.
And the white flag waves. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. Well, if you believe in karma and omens, look at the quarter panel of Kyle Larson's car and his uniform. Cars 3, #1 this weekend at the box office. car 42, Kyle Larson, #1 at Michigan International Speedway. Larson wins. Chase Elliott second for the 3rd Michigan race in a row.
Man, you made up on those restarts. Very proud of you. Oh, yeah, great job. Great pit stops all day. Good job. Great team effort. Good job. Thanks. Let's put on a show for him here.
The California kid, our own Lightning McQueen, gets his 3rd career win and his 2nd of 2017. He becomes the 4th repeat winner this year. Both of his victories have come from the pole. For Chip Ganassi Racing, 14 victories and their 2nd of the year. It's the 7th win of 2017 for Chevrolet.
Here's Kyle Larson on that final restart. Gets a nice push from the 22 of Joey Logano. I just like the position that he had on the 11. He sort of pins the 11 down. 11 tries to move him up the racetrack, but he has that outside preferred line. Takes that momentum. And
that move by Hamlin cost him, because that's how Chase Elliott got by him.
He got into the 42 and it caused him to go up the hill.
Look at this in victory lane. You don't see that very often.
Kyle Larson taking home the checkered flag is today's Sunoco fueling victory. And that's the best victory lane in racing, because it's just this side of pit wall, right in full view of all the fans on the front stretch.
You know how often I've seen this? Never. That is pretty cool. He left his mark. Look, he left his mark in the pit lane over in the victory lane.
Kyle Larson led the most laps, led the last lap. #1 at the box office, #1 on the speedway. Chris?
And Mike, he was the favorite in Las Vegas at 4-1. In fact, in the last 15 races, 7 times he's finished either 1st or 2nd. And Michael Waltrip, it's all about victory lane here. He had to fight off. We talked about restarts, how important they are, especially here in the pre-race show, and it seemed like he had to keep fighting off other drivers on the restarts to nail down this win.
Yeah, and you just have to be so aggressive, and you also have to have a plan. And I think laying back to the car in front of you, not letting the others get too far ahead, that was the key to him getting that next to last restart.
Denny Hamlin, the highest finishing Toyota, finishing 4th, and let's check in with him.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin starting up on the front row that last restart. It looked like you were trying to move Larson up a little bit, but did he have you pinned down too low?
Yeah, he's doing his job. I'm trying to do my job. It's great to, you know, we had a shot anyway, but the low groove, yeah, it was just very tough to get that low line going. Anybody that was up there was kind of a sitting duck. So I think Larson actually got the lead there one time, which is pretty impressive, but definitely nothing I could do. You know, we had a really fast car all day. Our FedEx office Camry was stellar all day. Just had one bad pit stop, and it set us back to 10th or 12th, and it just took us all day to get back up front. But proud effort nonetheless.
Thanks, Denny. Jamie?
And Joey Logano has his best finish in 6 races. I know you just said a great turn of events. You finished 3rd. Little contact with the 11 there, Joey, but what's your take overall on the day?
Yeah, well, it's just we outperformed our car, and I'm proud of that. This team, we needed a momentum change, and the Shell Pennzoil team did what we had to do today. It looked like we were going to finish in around 10th position, and we had some good restarts. Todd had some good strategy. The pit stops were good. And that's what we got to do. That's what this team typically does, is that we outperform what we got a lot of times. And that's what put us in position to almost win the race. And man, I'm just happy that something didn't go wrong this race. We've had a rough struggle the last 5-6 weeks. So it's nice to click off a top 5 and just get that momentum built back up again.
Turning things around for the 22, Chris.
All right, thank you, Jamie. And Kyle Larson at age 24, he's the driver that our own Jeff Gordon called the next Jimmy Johnson, and that's high praise for a guy who wins his 2nd race this year and early in a career that has great promise.
Well, just think what he did last Tuesday night in a sprint car somewhere in Nebraska. He went out there and made a last lap pass to win that sprint car race. He can drive anything, anywhere. He's got a lot of respect down in that garage area, not only by the way he wins races, but by the way he wins them. He's fair, but he's very aggressive.
Led nearly half of the laps in this race
and chased down by Chase Elliott. How about that? We talked about Chase yesterday in practice. That 24 car, the Napa Chevy, was nowhere near where he wanted it to be. They made some adjustments overnight, and he was right in the game.
And a track here in Michigan where Ford has won more than any other manufacturer. As we look at last week's winner, was hanging around for a while when it looked like Kyle Busch might win on fuel, but a series of cautions brought out restarts, and the fastest rose to the front.
You got that right. And his teammate, Jamie McMurray, stepped up for a 5th place finish. So that Ganassi organization, they've got it going on right now.
And let's head down to victory lane for the celebrations.
I've seen Ron Hornaday in the Hall of Fame do a burnout going into victory lane, but never a driver leaving his marks like this. Kyle Larson with son Owen. Now Owen scored a trophy last night in the Father's Day Olympics. You scored the big one today, but was the winning move the restart that you power drove past Kyle Busch to get lane choice at the end?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Blaney gave me a heck of a push, so I really got to thank him a ton, I knew the Penske cars took off good, so I was happy to see him behind me, and yeah, so for us to withstand, a few restarts there with some tough competitors was pretty important, so can't thank these guys enough. Cars 3 Chevy was really, really fast, and cool to win it. Great Father's Day present for myself and all the other fathers out there. My dad's here today too, so looking forward to celebrating with them.
This team certainly has really harnessed that momentum and really doing something with it.
Yeah, we've been so close to so many other wins. This is our 2nd Cup win of the year, but we've had 6 second-place finishes, so could have 30 more bonus points. But all in all, good season so far, and we'll continue to keep building on what we got.
There he is, Owen and Kyle. 1-2 finishes this weekend here at MIS.
And he mentioned his father, Mike Larson, a part of his story. You saw his son, 2-year-old Owen, on Friday enjoying his dad on the pole. It says, good job, Dad. And then, of course, crowning Father's Day in victory lane for Kyle Larson and crew. We'll have more live from Michigan in a moment. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, superior performing tires to face challenging conditions on the track and on the road. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. It was Mike Larson, Kyle's dad, pit crew car owner, mechanic, mentor through the years. His dad ingrained into his son a low-key demeanor, even when he was winning go-kart races at a young age. Said, make sure you don't get too excited or too down. You'll be able to control your emotions and control what's behind the wheel. And he did today as he adds the victory sticker, his 2nd of the season, with his dad in attendance and his son in his arms. And a happy Father's Day for Kyle Larson. And the winners this season, Kurt Busch started it all with an upset at the Daytona 500. We had quite a few shockers and first-time winners, 3 of those this year. But the favorite today in this race, Kyle Larson. Let's get some final thoughts and head back upstairs to Daryl, Jeff, and Mike.
1st and 5th for Chip Ganassi's race team today, but we're used to talking about Kyle Larson always rim riding up by the wall. Yet today, he was the only driver to figure out how to restart from the inside and get the lead, bottom fishing.
Well, I just think back to Dover a few weeks ago when he lost the win on that final restart to Jimmy Johnson. I think that this was a huge moment for Kyle Larson, not just to get that win, but to figure out how to get the lead back on a restart. And he's the only one, by the way, that did it from the inside.
He's led 247. He won this race here last August. He led 41 laps. He went to California, led 110. He led 96 today for 247 laps on 2-mile tracks.
Wow. Great day for Team Ganassi, and what a day for Kyle Larson.
All right, gentlemen. Mike, your takeaway, and again, we talked about what his father ingrained, a certain kind of temperament, because Kyle Larson had a lot of frustration with 5 second-place finishes. Thought he should have had more wins than he had. They're starting to pile up, starting to take shape for him.
He's a superstar that doesn't act like one. He's just a low demeanor, just a guy that you want to hang out with. We play a little bit of golf together. He makes fun of himself on the golf course. He says he isn't much of a golfer. He says, I'm a pretty good race car driver. I love being on the dirt. So you got to see this kid. You got to understand who he is to appreciate his talent behind the wheel. It's amazing what he's been able to accomplish. We're starting to shape up our championship battle. You got to think Truex with those playoff points that he's captured, and now Kyle Larson with a 2nd victory. Those 2 could be the ones you look forward to in November winning the championship.
All right, let's check in with a guy still searching for his first win. Had some opportunities, and he's had rough luck at Michigan before. Chase Elliott, our Jamie Little, is with him.
Well, for the third straight race here, he finished in the top 5, bringing home second, Chase. It wasn't easy, though. This team had to wholesale change this car yesterday. How hard was today to fight back and get the finish?
Yeah, it was. I'm really proud of our Napa Chevy team. We, you know, from where we started the day to where we ended up, I was really proud of our effort. I really think we overachieved today from what we had Friday, Saturday, and kind of last night. I was a little nervous about how the day was going to go. So happy that we could just have a solid day, put ourselves in position, kind of rely on some late race restarts, had a couple opportunities to get the lead, and unfortunately just didn't work out. But we'll move on. Congrats to Kyle. He had a fast car today, and we'll try to go get him next week. Yep.
Well, Jamie McMurray bouncing back after brake failure at Pocono. Jamie, listening to you on the radio today, you had your hands full the first half of this race, but you guys just stayed in the fight.
Yeah, great day for a McDonald's Chevy. At the beginning of the race, it was weird. It seemed like you could run a couple of good laps, and then I don't know if you'd catch a gust of wind or what would happen, but it would send the car up the racetrack. And it wasn't just me. I saw the 88 and the 2 car going through the same thing. But Matt and Josh did a really good job adjusting on it. We had great pit stops. And like you say, it's a really good recovery from what happened to us last weekend. Kyle winning. So I know that Chip is in France right now, probably thrilled. I hope he's still awake. But overall, great day for our organization.
Thanks, Jamie.
Checking the standings here is Kyle Larson. Remember, he was your points leader much of the season. Truex jumped ahead of him, but this win puts him back in the top spot. What you notice about these standings, Michael, with wins and points, still a Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota team member has not won this year.
Yeah, and for the 5th time this season, Chris, Kyle Busch has been passed for the last lead change, taking that lead away from Kyle. But what I loved about today, there's another player from the Joe Gibbs organization, Denny Hamlin. That was one of the best cars on the track today. He got the big win yesterday in Xfinity, and he proved today that that team's got speed again.
Not pictured in the top 20 there, 11 races until the playoff, but a top 10 finish today. Our Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Jamie.
Well, Dale Jr., he moved up top 5, fell back for a little bit, had a vibration at some point, and you finished in the top 10, Junior. How'd the day feel from your standpoint?
Oh, man, we had a tough time with it. Car was fast, especially in the middle of the race, really quick. But on them restarts, we get stuck behind people and just kind of having terrible luck trying to get in the right lane or get the right opportunity on the restarts. But that last one was a great one. We passed about 9 cars there with 5 to go. So we need to qualify better. We got some ideas on how to do that when we come back. This 42, 18 to 78, those guys are still faster than us no matter how good we qualify. Circumstances are going to have to work in our favor to come back here and beat them if we don't find the speed that they have. But we'll go to Sonoma and see how we can see what we can do there. That should be an interesting race. And looking forward to Daytona for sure, because leading that race in February and getting wrecked out, I think we got a good shot to run good there too. Thank you.
Well, you know, we only had 4 leaders today, and I made the point in the broadcast, the Hendrick Chevrolets, I mean, this is a dominant race team, and they didn't lead last week, and they didn't lead today.
Yeah, but they nearly won. Chase Elliott was right there at the checker flag, and I love Dale Jr.'s spirit. You can tell it's in there. He wants to win these races. He thinks he's in a position to do that. He set a lot of speed in the middle of the race, a top 10 finish for Dale Jr. And think in a couple weeks we're going to Daytona. We know how successful he's been down there. I think he's got speed to do something throughout the summer.
All right, and you saw Kyle Larson, the winner from Elk Grove, California. We're going back to his home turf next Sunday, our final race on the Fox FS1 broadcast season. As 2-year-old Owen will see Dad win. He'll go out and see Cars 3, and then he'll watch Fox and FS1 the rest of the week. We'll be back here in a moment. Stock car racing has come to an end in Michigan, but more racing straight ahead. Coming up, NHRA drag racing from Bristol, Tennessee. With Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, capping this Father's Day from Michigan International Speedway. And next Sunday, it's a road course in Sonoma, California. Just, let's see, about 81 miles east of Sonoma Raceway is Elk Grove, where that young man is from. What should we look for next week?
Pushing and shoving. You know, you have all kinds of opportunities to reduce speed to knock someone out of your way. You're going to see a lot of that. And this year's been all about the first-time winners, but we got some guys that do well on the road courses that need a win in 2017. Denny Hamlin was close today. Remember last year how close he came to winning out there?
Tony Stewart got...
he and Tony Stewart had an issue. A.J. Allmendinger's another guy you better watch next week. And Daniel Suarez, a couple of top 5 finishes last year on the road races in Xfinity. He could be a factor as well.
Yeah, at Sonoma, the last 8 races there, we've had 8 different winners. And now we have 9 spots slots filled with 11 races until we get to NASCAR's playoff. We talked a little bit about Dale Earnhardt Jr., talked about Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon. They were able to get into the playoff in their last season after announcing that they were retiring. What are Junior's chances?
I think it's 50-50 right now, to be honest with you, because we just hadn't seen him up near the front. But when we go to Daytona, we know all about his success there. He said it would be an interesting race in Sonoma. I agree. That's a place where you can get off pull your car off the truck and it be fast and have a successful weekend. So it'll be interesting to see throughout the next few months if he gains that speed necessary to get up there and compete for wins.
Well, as you see Kyle Larson celebrating, so he joins Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex, guys who have won twice this year. Still, it was an unusual afternoon. The last 2 races for Jimmy Johnson, who is the only 3-time winner this season. He wound up 10th. Let's talk a little bit about the bigger picture and the challenge to Jimmy Johnson going for his 8th championship.
Well, that slide through the grass yesterday that tore up his primary car, they got out their backup car. Obviously, it was fast. He jumped up to 6th just a couple of laps into the run, but it certainly wasn't a car they had tweaked and tuned on for a couple of days. So that probably hurt the performance of him a little bit. And today was an interesting day for Jimmy. I saw a lot of speed at times for the 48 car, but he kept getting booted out of the groove and slipping sideways. He and Chad had some choice words for each other throughout the course of the day, and they settled in for a decent finish, but not typical Jimmy Johnson day here at Michigan.
And not typical for Brad Keselowski, too. Still a Michigan-born driver, has number 1 here. We'll see how he can do next week at the Toyota Safe Mart 350. Our coverage beginning at 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific. Well, from the pole, Kyle Larson wins. Never further back than 15th. He led the most laps and fought off everybody else on the restarts to pull in to victory lane, and a happy Father's Day for him all the way around. For Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Darrell Waltrip, Mike Joy, our entire crew, thanks for being a part of NASCAR on FS1. Have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday from Sonoma, California. Drag racing straight ahead.